Welcome, everybody. This is The Real Deal with me, Larry, Lawton, and Benz.
What's up?
And we got a fucking great show here today. I got Randy Lanier, who is a former Indy car driver and probably the biggest smuggler in the world. Probably, right? In the United States, anyway.
I don't know about all the business.
All right.
I'm just good being
at what
here.
you did. And we also have Mark Lopez, who's with Greaser Green Labs. It's a premium cannabis brand. Randy and you guys are business partners, I assume, and you represent a brand, correct?
Well, we just got a license in New Jersey, a cultivation license.
Awesome.
And a Tier 4 large license, and we're just partnering up and looking for investors and stuff to bring our brands to New Jersey.
When you say bring a brand, is it a specific strain, or is it all like what is it?
No, being that I'm kind of new to New Jersey market in the legal sense, we're going to bring a brand, Octane Cannabis, Lanier Octane, brands related to us.
Okay,
awesome.
So you developed your own brand.
Develop our own brand.
Okay, good for you, man. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into a whole bunch of shit, Randy, because you and I were in prison.
And this is the real deal.
This is the fucking
Real deal, baby.
This is gonna get wild because before the show, everybody, we were starting to talk stories, and Ben says, "Stop, fucking guys, stop!" Because you got stop. Is it loud?
Is it loud to you? Or are you feeling kind of loud?
Is it me because I'm fucked up from yesterday?
Again, this is the real
It's
deal.
the real
We
deal.
talk about how loud it is.
We don't give a fuck. Whatever happens, happens.
That's right.
But you know what? We know we do good because people love that. They don't want us to fucking be cutting in this and shit. Now the video will be right. You'll all be in the screen and all that bullshit. So what we did today, everybody, since Randy was coming here, we got the studio ready, and of course we have marijuana in our studio, which we smoke every day.
Every day.
Every show. Well, we got some other
You
stuff.
smoke every day, Randy?
I smoke weed every day.
Are you a wake
Love
and
that.
bake?
Yes.
Okay, every day.
Well, I wake up and I
Have a cup of coffee first.
I usually have a cup of coffee, do some things, but I smoke before I have breakfast.
What's your favorite type
I smoke joints.
of joints? Okay.
Yes.
You're still an old school.
Yes, and I don't usually put filters on it. I just roll it up and smoke it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well, let me emphasize what Randy. We're going to get into the show right now because we're going to be talking about weed. We're going to be talking about prison. We're going to be talking about the IndyCar series he was in. Amazing. And if anybody out there has not saw the Netflix series, it's called Bad Sports, and it's a series on Netflix. And Randy's episode is episode 2. It's called The Need for Weed.
I love that name.
I love that
I
name.
just love that. As a gamer, to me, that's everything.
When we was putting it together, authenticity is
Absolutely
means a lot.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
That's what we're all about. Being authentic, and
100%.
that's why we're going to bring real legacy to New Jersey.
And the legacy's the weed brand.
That's they will be,
Right. Okay.
but it's us too, because we go way back. I've been burning weeds 53 years.
Well, see, this is what we're going to jump right into the show, and you just gave me what they call the open door. First of all, Randy he went to prison for a life sentence, everybody. I want you to understand this. A life sentence in 1988, correct?
Yeah, I got pinched in 1987, went to trial, received a natural death sentence, life with no parole.
Yeah.
They sentenced me to the remaining balance of my natural life.
Right. And as what we used to call in prison, it was called letters. You had letters on your jacket, and it actually said life. You got a fucking elbow. And it's... So Randy had a life sentence, and he did 27 years, and he ended up getting pardoned by President Obama.
Well, that's not completely correct.
Oh, okay.
That was said on Netflix,
Right.
not by me, but by my ex-wife.
Okay.
And that was a mistake.
Well, that's why
I
she's your
didn't
ex-wife.
receive a pardon.
No.
I was really fortunate to be in like a perfect storm. And
Well, tell us what happened.
amazing things came about. President Obama had issued an order to the Justice Department to look at all the long-term sentencing people that were nonviolent, lifers that are nonviolent. I fell into that category. But also, I had, about 3 years before I got released, I get a letter one day from a lady. And I go to my cell and I open it, and in it there's a lot of photos. and there's photos of these women in front of the White House with my picture on posters asking President Obama to release me, grant me clemency. Well, who the hell are these people? And it's Freedom Grow and a lady called Amy Pobal for Amy Can Do Foundation. They're marijuana advocates, and they're advocating for my release. So I started corresponding with them, and you know they're advocating and putting me out there awareness that I'm locked up with a life sentence. Now on top of that, I had, right before my 19 years, 6 months, I had gotten a notice from the U.S. Justice Department, U.S. Attorney's Office, that they was extending my forfeiture. I owed the government $60 million. Okay. So they was going to extend my forfeiture in a motion. So we started doing some research, and we filed a motion for discovery. That means we want their evidence of what they're going to ask to discover, to file my extension for forfeiture. My forfeiture expires in 6 months. I got 19 years, 6 months into my bid. In 6 months, I'm not going to owe the government no money. So we file, 3 months go by, and we get a letter from the FBI that says, it's not a letter, it's a stack of information. It's a Senate investigative hearing. And in it is information about a seized casino that I had built in 1985. We had found out that they didn't vet the buyer, and they sold it to organized crime. So with that, we also found out that they kept a little small percentage, the U.S. Marshal Service.
They were stealing.
For 9 years. So now we started putting some lawsuits on them. My co-defendant was the first one. And it took him 5 years, it took me 7 years. And with the accumulation of President Obama asked him to look at all the nonviolent cannabis prisoners, with all the advocacy people sending in letters to President Obama, and with a lawsuit that my co-defendant had filed because the U.S. Marshals had seized property and sold it to organized crime when they sold it, and they kept a percentage illegally. All of that combined, before an evidence hearing concerning this casino, the U.S. Justice Department got in contact with my lawyer and said, hey, if your client agrees to drop everything, we'll give him time served. So I walked out the door in 2014 a free man due to a perfect storm of circumstances and situations that had developed in my case.
Well, I'm glad you said that because, you know, I did the law for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, I watched some of that happen. I don't know if you knew who Donnie Clark was. Donnie Clark was in the prison system for a long time.
Name sounds familiar.
And I was in the prison when he had a pardon, and it was amazing. He had a warden came down. They took him right off there, wouldn't let anybody talk to him again. And, you know, Donnie Clark got a pardon. That's why it's very rare, and that's why I wanted to ask you. But that's good.
I knew 30 days before I was at a court hearing. We had filed a motion for time served, and the U.S. Justice Department didn't
oppose it.
They didn't oppose it.
Right.
And so the judge ruled in our favor and ordered the Justice Department they gave them 30 days to release me. And it was exactly 30 days.
They don't give a fuck, those cocksuckers. I just talk about it a lot on this show. The prison system's the worst fucking prison system in the world. People don't get it, how bad it is. We were there. We were through riots. We were through the shit. And it's fucked up. And they know it, and they won't fix it. They have funds for people who die in there. I can't tell you how many people they fucking killed with no medical care and everything else in prison. You know all of that.
I watched a lot of people, unfortunately, a lot of trauma throughout the years.
But we're not going to get into that. We're going to get into your case now a little bit. How's that? We're going to go to prison because it always comes back to that because we need to fix that fucking thing somehow.
Prison needs to be fixed in a multitude of ways.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into this. Now, Randy was an Indy car driver in a big way. I don't mean, first of all, what does it cost to run an Indy car team?
Millions.
Just million. I mean,
millions, tens of millions of dollars.
I mean, in 1 year? No.
In 1 year, it's easily to spend $5 million back in the 80s.
Back in the 80s.
Now it's 30, 40, $50 million easy.
Wow. Now, I did see a picture of you since you've been out in a car racing. I've done 5 races since I've been out. Wow. And?
I had some success, 2 seconds, 1 fourth, and 2 DNFs. DNFs did not finish.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you something. Are you fucking crazy? What the fuck? You're 7 years old, right? So they got you right. You're gonna fucking crash into a fucking wall. You know, we don't fucking heal as much as we don't.
That's just a number. That's just a number.
Yeah, I got you. Fucking,
right?
I feel it. You know, I had fucking 15 vertebrae done. Fucking heart, this shit. I'm fucking crippled now. Look, broke my fucking muscles. Fucking IndyCar at 67 years old.
Well, I didn't get into IndyCar yet.
Well,
I'd like to, but I don't think that chance of that happening is nil.
We have a lot of fans who are car people on this show. A lot of fans. And what's the high speed you got up to?
Qualifying at Michigan, I think I qualified at. I had ran 2:19. Can't remember my qualifying speed. About 2:21, my fastest.
Now that's when you were racing.
When I was racing.
When you got out, what were you doing?
About 165, something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty fast because I remember taking my Corvette across Alligator Alley. Yeah. I robbed a jewelry store in Fort Myers. So I used to fucking go from Fort Lauderdale to Fort Myers. Naples. Naples was the first one. And I used to fucking go back and forth. I got that thing 100. I outran a cop. I got about 150. Cop, you know, I'm going down the fucking thing about 85, 90. I see the cop car in my rearview mirror, hits the fucking brakes, and then you see his lights go on. He starts turning into the swell. Boom! I was passing cars like they were fucking standing still. And I'll tell you what, our producer here is a fucking psycho fucking driver. And I don't know what it is. And I was a psycho. Trust me. I mean, I had my fucking craziness. I don't know what it is. It's something like that with that skin. I did that, you know. Oh, it was on the wall. I did the Petty experience, the Richard Petty experience, where you go around Daytona for fucking 10 laps and all that shit. It was cool, but I couldn't fit in the fucking window. I'm fucking 200 fucking.
How do you feel about NASCAR racing?
NASCAR racing?
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
You are?
Yeah, I like NASCAR. I'm not as big as a fan as I was years ago when I was in the joint.
Oh yeah, we're all in the joint.
A little bit too many rules with the way they developed the chase system. I don't particularly care about all the
governors and this and whites.
They whittle it down to where only so many teams are running for the chase, and you could win 20 races at the beginning of the season and be the best team, and then get screwed up in the last end of the chase, and you couldn't win the championship. Anyway, again, people, you got to check his show out on Netflix. Unbelievable, Need for Weed. But on that show, it shows, at least the actor, I don't know who it was, but he shows the excitement you had with racing. That was me.
No, is that
footage.
That's footage. That's right.
Me jumping up and down in the pits.
Right, you went crazy.
I get excited.
No, is it still one of your biggest passions?
Sure, yeah. That and oil paint, oil on canvas. I like to put oil on canvas.
Oh, you fucking remind me of Tommy Silverstein.
Oh, well. And Tommy that he's talking about was after they moved him from Marion, when they shut down Marion, they brought him to Leavenworth and put him in the basement. They killed two staff members at Marion
Penitentiary. I think a lieutenant and a guard and Cadillac.
And for years they kept him in the basement. So that's why I went to trial, was in Marion, Illinois.
Oh, that's where you went. Okay, that's why you were there.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get back to the book, and we're gonna get we're gonna get back to the racing. What got you into racing? At like what? I know you didn't grow up rich. You grew up in Virginia or West Virginia. I mean, it's the show tells all of that. And it's a pretty good story, everybody. You got to watch it. You listen to the race, and he got hooked and everything. But, I mean, to go and start spending the money you did, I mean, you weren't making that kind of money back then, were you?
In the 80s, I was.
No, I know you were doing the drugs. We're going to get into that because you did it right up here in our town, Melbourne.
I did bring 2 loads in north of Sebastian Inlet.
Right? Yeah. Did you ever do anything with a plane? Because, there's a big spot out here they call it the compound.
I didn't per se, but some of my offloaders used to offload some other smugglers with planes.
Yeah, because there's a big spot out here called the compound. And I don't know how many thousands acres probably. And they have roads.
250 square miles.
Is that what it is?
It is.
It's crazy out there. And they have roads. So they have little landing strips.
I've raced there a lot.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
They said, you can check their car out.
I was all about boats.
Obviously. Hey, did you know the crew that was doing the speedboats?
Well,
I
don't know what
Rari,
crew there was.
Aoki,
many crews.
wasn't it Aoki, the guy from Benihana's?
No, Benihana's I did know, but I just know him from one of my co-defendants that was involved with offshore racing. So I didn't personally know Benny or whatever his name was.
Yeah, Benny Aoki or something.
Aoki, yeah. He was also a balloon racer. You know, he used to race around the world in balloons.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Well, you did the Le Mans, didn't you?
I did Le Mans. Was fortunate in 1982. I picked up a ride with a Ferrari team that drove in Le Mans and the 24 Hours of Daytona.
All right, as a car guy, and you seem to be pretty knowledgeable about cars, especially back then. What's the best car?
Best car that I like?
Yeah, that you like, or what do you think is the best car? I mean, you talk about a Ferrari or a Porsche, or what do you think?
Well, I would like to have a Ferrari, a Porsche. I mean,
you don't have a favorite.
I don't have a favorite. My street cars back in the 80s were BB512 Ferrari I used to have, and some 930 Porsche turbos.
There you go.
There you go. Cheers.
Now we are drinking in the morning on The Real Deal. We're having some good scotch.
Hey,
we got to celebrate.
You're getting there. It's almost afternoon.
Hey.
Fuck. Remember the fucking shit we drank in fucking prison?
Yeah, I stayed away from that a lot. The hooch or
the White Lightning?
Or the white...
White Lightning we used to make.
I stayed away from it.
And the peanut butter jars.
Yeah, I stayed away from it. I just didn't care for it too much.
What did you do in prison?
What did I do?
What drug?
Well, smoked weed. I smoked weed probably 27 years. I smoked weed 27 years. so maybe sometimes I'd go a month or two without it.
Well, you know, I tell everybody on this show all the time, you can get more weed, you can get more drugs in prison than on the streets. And people go, what do you mean? I don't mean numbers. But if you want marijuana, it's the corner cell. If you want the acid, it's over in that guy. If you want the coke, you want the caps of this, or whatever the fuck you want, you get. I did acid. I was an acid guy. I liked acid. The most I did, we're gonna tell you. I'm gonna hear a story, but I did 4 hits of acid. I used to hang out with the acid king of the prison system. He's very well known, Lumpy. His name is Timothy Tyler. Great guy too. And we used to get the acid in. We used to get the sheets in, and by you know how you get them in with a card, a fucking. Like a birthday card.
Legal
whatever,
mail.
Yeah, whatever it is. We used to get the acid in, and we used to sell 50 hits. We used to get 100 hits, sell 50 hits, and do 50 hits. He would do 10 fucking hits on a fucking regular night. Now listen, this is an ass. Let me tell you how fucked up he got. I got to tell you a quick story. And me, the most I've ever done was 4 hits. And I talk about that because I was in Atlanta, and I floated out of that fucking prison. I swear to you, Randy, I was looking down on that fucking prison. You know, now I think I could do more. I don't know if it was because it was very good acid, obviously. Well, this guy Lumpy, and I want to hear your story on acid, but first, Lumpy, this kid, he got so fucked up. He was on the street, and he had 100-hit vial of acid, and it broke, and it went into him. 100 fucking hits. He sold his worldly possessions for 2 tickets to a Haight-Ashbury and a fucking Jerry Garcia concert, fucking Grateful Dead concert, and a skateboard. He was so fucked up. Now, he used to have the stories. Now, I'm an acid believer because I just love because I got that good disposition. I want to have fun. I want to do things. You took acid before.
I've taken acid many times. I've started eating acid in the 60s.
And what? Any incidents in prison or anywhere that you had fun? You know?
So, yeah.
Go ahead.
I stopped eating acid after this story, I'm telling you. I haven't eaten any more since then.
No? You want one?
No, I'm good. So I'd eaten 2 hits of LSD.
Okay.
Myself and 2 of my buddies. We each ate 2 hits, 4 o'clock count. Our plan was after 4 o'clock count cleared, let's go out to the bleachers.
Yeah, you skip chow and all that shit.
Skip chow, go right up to the bleachers.
On the move.
So
move.
Count clears. We out the door. As soon as they open the rec yard, we're out on the bleachers. We decide it's getting too crowded. So let's go up on the softball field and walk the track. So we walk on the track. The trees are swaying with the music like in harmony. It's amazing.
Fucking great.
Next thing I know, we see 3 cops running towards us.
That's guards,
What the
everybody.
fuck is going on here? 3 guards, 3 hacks coming towards us. And the guy on the bullhorn, we got headphones on. We don't hear him. He's been yelling at us to get us attention. They don't hear us. Everybody on the yard is gone. The yard's empty. It's just us three out there walking. They've had emergency recall. So when they take us to the gym, I get paranoid. I got 14 hits in a little contact lens holder, baggie. Yeah. And I take the baggie out, and I go to the water fountain for some reason. I put it in my mouth, but I was just going to cheek it.
Right.
But
get through the metal detectors, get through the guards.
Sometime I'm thinking I'm going to get shook down on the way back out of here, which they allowed to do, pat us down, and I got
every
it in my
metal
pocket.
detector. Yeah.
So I cheek it. Well, I ended up swallowing it.
Oh, shit.
14 hits. We ended up in this gym for about 2-3 hours before they take us back to the unit. When I'm walking back to the unit, things ain't like they were when I come out.
Did you feel it coming on?
I felt it coming on. I went and laid down because I'm.
And you can't stop it. Once acid goes, you can't stop it.
I go and lay down. I put my headphones on, and I remember getting up, and my brother's telling me, my partner's telling me, man, were you okay? I look at him, I tell him, I think I just come out of the womb. I mean, what the hell am I talking about?
I had no clue, did you?
So I got back then they used to let us have a cardboard, a cork board where we could put our photos on.
Oh, a cork board, right.
And I'm looking at it, and all the photos, they're looking like a fan that's spinning with colors like an Oriental fan or something.
So far, that's a good trip.
It's a good trip. The whole trip was good. I didn't.
So then why quit? Just do 14.
No, I got so high. Look, I tell my partner, I go, what is all this? And he says, bro, that's your family, man. I said, where am I? He says, oh, you're fucking up my high. He said, you're in prison. I said, I'm in prison? The fuck did I do?
Hey, you got out of prison. What the fuck? You got out of prison. You got out of prison, man.
I was out of prison.
At least for a fucking day or whatever the fuck it was.
So that's my acid trip in the joint.
You know, Randy, when I floated out of the prison, to this day, I'm trying to find that perfect high. What I try to tell people, there is a perfect high. Go ahead.
So look, I floated out and watched myself from above without any drugs. Absolutely 100%.
You're not fucking going crazy on us, are you?
I've done this several times. My earliest, I was 18 years old. I was into meditation. I was a vegetarian. I'd meditate an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening. And I left my body. My first time it happened, I was looking at myself sitting down, and I was cross-legged and meditating, and it scared me. It scared me so bad. I thought about, oh no,
you're dying or something.
Then you jump out of it. You go right back into your body because now you're thinking. So what the thing of it is when you can get to the point to where you are not your thoughts at all, because you're not our thoughts, you're not your emotions, you're not your past, none of that. You're just energy. And I've had that happen several times without any drugs. And it's an amazing thing because it takes you into understanding who you really are.
100% believe that. Even with the acid, I felt that. Yeah. When I floated out of prison, it was amazing because to this day, all my friends know that, I try to get to that level because I don't know what's after that level. I don't want that. I know that one level, and I call it the perfect high. That's what I call it. And I listen, I'm a believer in drugs. I don't think anybody should go to prison for drugs, period. I think it's if you commit a crime for them, meaning like you rob a store or you do something, you should be held accountable. But for fucking doing drugs or fucking, I don't even think smugglers. I remember, it was so funny. You're talking about your day. I was in the Coast Guard, 1979. We fucking robbed 3 fucking bales that were floating in. He was floating the bales in.
Sure.
So we get the thing, we put them on the boat. We're heroes. What do? We take 3 bales, we put them on the catwalk on the low bridges on the West Coast. And I was stationed over in Cortez, Florida.
Come back and get them?
Come back the next day with the Coast Guard morale boat. Their fucking boat. And we come back and get that. I bought my first fucking car, a Mercury Grand Marquis. I looked like a fucking little skinny motherfucker with this big fucking boat. That was a boat fucking thing. But anyway, so I looked at what, weed and drugs and everything. And I was thinking about you because, once we knew you coming on, I usually try to think of a guest. And especially you was easier than me because I know we've been to the prison system. We understand how this shit works, from trials to fucking how they fuck you over, from lawyers fuck you over, this one, how family feels. You know, I want to just get it out of you. You went to prison and from the run. And, you know, I used to hear, I was never on the lam. And I know so many guys in the joint told me, Larry, you don't want to go on the lam. It's a pressure that you don't get. Hard to understand. Remember, Jimmy Bird was on it for a while, and then they got arrested. Oh, this guy Carlos, and they kind of like they talked about, you know, they were on the lam 9 years. Some of them. That was the longest.
I was only on the lam for 9 months.
But how did it? Did anything feel? Did you always think about that? What it was?
Sure, you're thinking about it wherever you are. I've had multiple passports. I made a mistake thinking that I could get a vessel, take it to the south of France. I had the boat down in Antigua. Had a house in Antigua and a 60-foot Hatteras.
Nice.
And I had customized it, and I guess
That's
I got
a nice
attached
boat.
to it. I had taken it and gutted it. I bought it new, gutted it, and got, I guess, attached to it. I had plans, but I ended up getting caught on the lam. 2 FBI agents was assigned to my case just for the Caribbean alone. Their job was 5 days a week, flying all the islands looking for me in the Caribbean and my vessel. So I was over in Switzerland.
No, you knew this.
I knew that.
Okay, you knew
but
that.
I didn't know about the 2 agents.
Oh, that's what I was asking.
No,
You did not know about
I
that.
found this out after
Afterwards,
I
like
get
I did.
pitched.
Yeah, I didn't know the
Yeah.
major case squad was
No,
looking
I
for
knew
me.
they were looking for me, but I knew they were looking for me everywhere,
Right.
from New York to Geneva. So I had some passports that were good and strong and new, British passports. Flew down there. I ended up, I'm anchored up one morning. I'm getting ready to go get some conch and some lobsters. And I'm in the back of the cockpit, and here comes a little plane. Lands over on the grassy runway. I tell my crew, what do you think they're doing? He said, oh, they're just probably tourists. Well, I said, okay. I go and get my lobsters and my conch. We pull up anchor, and I'm heading back to the harbor, at Falmouth Harbor in Antigua. As I get into the harbor, I'm up with binoculars, and I should have picked up right away because I'm looking at my docks, and I don't see no movement. There's nobody out there at all.
And there always was somebody
There's
out there.
usually there's somebody there. So now I'm pivoting around. I'm in a big bay, and I look over there, and there's about a 90-foot gray PT boat.
Oh.
Well, what the hell you think that Navy boat's doing? It's an Antiguan, like a
Navy.
PT boat. Oh, they might check our papers. We've been gone for 5 days. I've been fishing and anchoring off of these islands. I said, no, let's take this back out to the ocean. So we pivoted back around and started heading out to the inlet. And that big PT boat came by and blocked the inlet. I couldn't get out. I'm trapped. So
You're in the bay.
Fuck, they're here for me, man. So get the dinghy off. I got a winch and a dinghy on the bow of my boat. I take that, I put that in the water. I get in it.
Now, who are you with on the trip?
I'm with my girlfriend.
Just her? You and her?
And 2 crew members.
Okay, you had a 65-footer.
All right. And so I leave everybody. I'm only in a pair of baggies. I drive through a bunch of sailboats and I go tie up at the end of a dock. I climb up the dock and I get on the dock and I think, no, I better get back in my little dinghy and I can go out to the ocean and they'll never find me because Mazarat's 30 miles away. I can get over to Mazarat and get out of here. It's another island. Well, as I'm walking down the dock, I see the Navy boat that launched their little dinghy, but they got 4 guys with rifles pointing them at me. I'm going, oh shit. I take off running. I'm on a dirt road. Now I'm running.
Oh, no, you're on the ground.
I'm on the ground now.
You're not on the PT boat.
I didn't get in my boat.
You
I
didn't
turned
get in
around
it.
and ran.
Right.
And I'm on a dirt road. And here comes a dust storm. They're coming for me. Oh, fuck. So I climb up a palmetto bush hill. I'm trying to get away from
Where
it.
the fuck are you going up a tree? What are you, a monkey?
No, it's a hill with palmetto bushes, big old thorny bushes.
Okay.
He's giving it all, man. I like it.
Hey, I get up to the top of the hill. I know there's a deserted beach on the other side, and all I hear is, halt or we're shooting. I turn around, and they're all standing there with rifles, kneeling, pointing.
Ready to fucking shoot you.
They got me. So my bid on the land was 9 months, short-lived, and that was the end of the deal.
You know, I think about that because when I tried to get bond for my case, that was my thought. Fuck it. If I can get bond, because I knew I was fucked.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I beat my life sentence with a gunshot. I beat the 924C.
Yeah.
If I didn't beat the 924C, I'm not doing a podcast. That's for fucking sure. And, you know, when people ask me how my day's going, I say, I'm not in jail or not fucking dead.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work either.
So I tried to negotiate a deal with the Justice Department for about 6 months. And
right when you were...
I got pinched.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. So you were on the lam, you had your lawyer doing something.
Before I went on the lam.
Oh, before you went on the lam.
After I went on the lam, I didn't have them do nothing.
Gotcha.
Before I went on the lam, I'm driving race cars. I'm being investigated.
You are now.
Yeah, I got a load out on the water, 165,000 pounds that's ready to come in. It was 10 days offshore when I got informed that I was being investigated. This is like in April of 1986. Now, I've got a race in Indianapolis 500 in May.
Yeah, wow.
So 1 month before the Indy 500, I got a load coming in. It's 10 days from getting offloaded. I'm racing. My wife's pregnant with twins, and we lose, when all this started coming, we lose one of the twins.
Oh, that's
right?
so sorry to hear. Yeah.
All through that year of 86, I'm dodging the FBI, and I run the load from back down. I turn it around and send it down through the Panama Canal and run it all the way up to Northern California, up the Sacramento River, and unload it in Redwood City.
And got it.
And got away with it.
Yeah.
But we lost one child. My son was born in January of 87. And 7 days after he was born, he was a twin now. 7 days after he was born, I get indicted and I flee because they wanted me to cooperate.
It's not Garfield.
Mailman?
It's not Garfield.
It's not Garfield. It's the new mailman we got on the show. No
packages for pickup.
No pickup.
I was out of town.
So my son's born. I've been trying to work a deal with the Justice Department. They wanted me to serve 20 years, complete forfeiture, and complete cooperation. I said, I tell you what, I'll give you 25 years, complete forfeiture, and no cooperation. And they wouldn't go for that. So at that point, I decided it was time to leave. I'll figure it out, maybe in New Zealand or Switzerland for right now. And I left, and I ended up getting caught 9 months later.
Okay.
Just a real short thing.
Yeah.
I come out of prison 27 years later, bro. My son's 27 years old. My daughter is 35. She was 7 years old when I was arrested. My son's got a girlfriend. I come out in 2014. In 2015, my son's girlfriend has twin baby boys. So now I'm a grandfather of two little boys. I get them today at 3 o'clock. After I leave here, I'm picking them up, and they just so badass.
You know, I got the same thing. You know, my son has two kids, and he named my grandson after me. Totally. So he's the third now. I named my son after me, and then my son's name is after. He named his son after him, so he's the third. He's actually the third. Lawrence Robert Lawton the third. And you said it. You just smiled like that, with that smile with the grandkids. And I got a little girl, Juliana. She just, that they look at you or they do something to you and you fucking melt. You know what I mean? I mean, especially when I lost my kids. I went to prison when my daughter was 15 months old.
Okay.
And I got out and she was 13. My son was 7. I lost all his fucking years till 18. You know, it sucks. You know what I mean? And you know it, and we know it, but you have a relationship with him.
The whole time I was in the joint for 27 years, we was close. They visited me every year, as many visits as we could afford, because unfortunately I got shipped in many penitentiaries.
I know how they do it.
If you get pinched on a conspiracy or investigation to escape, let's say. I spent, out of the 27 years, I spent 7 years in solitary confinement, in the bucket.
I did 3. I talk about that all the time.
I did 7 years in the bucket, in the hole.
And that sucks.
Yeah, but I got to tell you something. My longest stint was 2 years at one time.
Straight.
That was in Florence, Colorado.
Yeah.
So by the time I come out of that 2 years, I've changed my thinking. I did a lot of meditation, a lot of contemplation, and I understood at a point of time in there that, you know what, if these doors don't never open, I'm okay, because I came to understand that I have everything within me that I need. I do. I have everything, because happiness ain't outside them doors. Happiness isn't anything outside. It's all within us. And I'm keeping it real. Because if you're chasing happiness or you're chasing shit, if you really want to find it, connect to within yourself and live with the intentions from your heart. And abundance of stuff comes your way. And that's how I think I ended up getting out of this 2-year investigation that the FBI couldn't find anything to indict anybody on an escape. And they let me out and sent me back to Leavenworth, where I'd left in 1992 on another escape investigation. That's when I went to Lewisburg. And when I got to
Were you there through the bad riots?
In Lewisburg?
Yeah, the Muslims in the AB?
When I came into Lewisburg, there was a bad tension. The whole joint was locked down. They put me in the hole. I was there for about 3 weeks. When they finally did let me out, the compound just opened back up. They put me in B block, maximum security, and they had a white guy had became a Muslim, and they had killed a black guy in A block and just left him up, covered up. And the killer that killed that guy, he never got pinched. His name, they call him the Ghost. He's got several murders in the joints from.
And he never gets caught.
He's never gotten caught.
Wow. No. Good for him.
Yeah, and so.
His name's the Ghost.
Yes, I was there through that riots.
I have friends that were there, and they said to me, Larry, I've been in prison for 18 years, whatever the fuck it was. He says, I've never heard that fucking Lewisburg Ford thing alarm, because ABs went after, and I think they killed 4 Muslims. That's when Willie Scott went sent there. Remember Willie Scott, the fucking troubleshooter? He was in Usford, Atlanta, that scumbag.
The warden?
Yeah.
So, in reality, I know when I was there, it was one white guy had killed the black Muslim. After we come out, now the black guy kills a white guy. It was only 2, but then they found bodies in B block, the block that I lived in, on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floor. It was 3 more added to it.
Yeah, because I know there was 4, and they killed him brutally. I mean, it was like fucking stabbed them. One of the guys I happened to be on this kind of the same fucked up circuit. I got in trouble.
I went through 2 riots.
2 riots. I went through 1 riot. Well, it depends on what you call a riot.
I'll tell you what a riot
I've seen
is.
20 on 20. I don't even call it a riot.
I've seen one of that with the
Mexican mafia. The ME.
It wasn't the Emmys, though. It was the Texas.
Texas. You had the AB.
Not the
AB.
It was all Mexicans. The
Border Brothers.
Border Brothers and the Texas
Syndicate.
Texas Syndicate. That's who it was.
I love how you guys are like completing each other's shit.
Larry, it was so many people they stabbed. They caught them off guard. They hit all of them at one time, and they butchered them. And they ran out of gurneys, and they, the curry people. So they was dragging them. The cops was out of breath, and everything was locked down. The concussion grenades going off.
Yeah. They did that to me in a hole.
But the worst riot that I had seen was in Leavenworth Penitentiary, in 1991. It was July the 5th. July the 4th, we had a arm wrestling contest. And it almost came down to a big riot there between the whites and the blacks. It was not, and I had eaten acid that night, watching the arm wrestling contest.
He's eating acid.
So, I'm out on the yard. We're getting ready. It's almost time to go in, and about 4. Back then we had weights in 1991.
Yeah, and then he took them all out.
So about 4 to 5 guys come by carrying arm curl bars and knives.
Oh, yeah.
So they run by, and the cop's trying to shut the gate because he sees them, but he can't. So they kick open the gate and they beat him down, and they run towards the main corridor in Leavenworth. Well, as they was going that way, inmates came this way. They had just killed the guy in the main corridor.
It was a murder fucking day.
So they take off running, and they chase these guys into the theater. Now, the theater in Leavenworth is huge. It's
like Atlanta had one.
It's real big stage. And they shut, the cops are able, the ones that they chase in, they lock the gate and they can't get them, so their guys came back out. They take over the yard that I'm on.
They got the yard now.
They got the yard. Everything's locked down. We sat there until about 2 o'clock that night. But when you're out on the yard and riots happen, some fights and shit starts breaking out on the yard, and everybody's got knives that's hidden.
Hidden? Oh, yeah.
They dig them up. Now they're breaking into Unicor, and they're setting fire on the print shop. Now, the print shop, they don't know, it's got super duper water.
Oh, that shit, yeah.
For the print.
Yeah.
But they can't understand why these fires keep going out. Now they break out into the back of the warehouses where all the kitchen supplies are coming in, the docks. They somehow get in there and start stealing, bringing all the shit out to the yard. There's 2 cops that got left on the yard when this happened. So they ran underneath the towers and put big spotlights on them and had guns out there and saying, hey, anybody comes within this lighted area, we'll shoot you. Nobody goes over there. Yeah. The cops are standing in that lighted area. At about 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm up on the bleachers, and
you're still out. Everybody's out.
They had a little putt-putt golf cart back there. We got the putt-putt,
the putters. They're fucking A, right?
You know, so
any weapon you can get. Come on, you know that.
So now, about 1 o'clock in the morning, we see the tower, and they draw in a rope, and they tie the first cop, first hack.
They do the keys,
and they're trying to bring him up. Just wait with the keys, but he gets about, this is a 40-foot wall, about 20 feet up. He starts swinging, and they can't get him, and they have to let him down. So another hour or 2 goes by, and we hear this gigantic noise. And it's the biggest crane I've ever seen in my life. The National Guard then brought over this big crane with officers on it. It comes over the 40-foot wall. The 40-foot wall's got to be 15, 20 feet thick.
Well, it 4 feet over, thick, I think, something like that.
And it comes over, and no, it's big towers built on top
of
the
wall. Towers, of course.
This wall is thick. This crane lowers an officer down, picks up the 2 officers and lets them back up. And takes off.
So they crane him out of there.
Within about 15 minutes, we hear stomping of the feet. We look, and here comes like an army of all National Guard cops or something, all in riot gear with weapons. They surround us, and they get on the bullhorn. We're coming in. And if anybody don't want to take part of this, lie down now with your hands on top of your head, belly to the floor, on the ground.
Yeah.
Look, everybody. They all got their guns.
Oh, they fucking yeah.
Everybody laid down. So they came with zip ties, zip their feet up, zip their hands up behind us. And when they come to pick you up, they pick you up between the zip ties, where your shoulders are and your ankles. And you're like...
You fucking dislocate your shoulder.
Then they lay us all on a flat spot for a good hour or so, until they ready to take us in. So it's been some crazy times in them riots.
I heard a riot like that was something like that. It was between the Bices, which is the Pisces. All they are is a Mexican who doesn't have another gang to go to. That's all it is. I mean, you got the MAs, the Border Brothers, the Sardeños, the Aztecas, the fucking Norteños.
G27.
No, that's Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican. Oh, you're talking about all the Mexicans.
There's so many Mexican fucking gangs. Well, anyway, it was a Mexican gang against the Bices. Now, the ones who don't go to one of those gangs, they're a Bisa. That's what they call them. And they become strong. They form their own shit now. Yeah. So we were on Edgefield. And Edgefield was a zoo, too. They fucking were taking all the fucking...
North Carolina?
Yeah, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
So we're in there, and all of a sudden, you know, I try to tell people this. When you go to prison, you've been in prison, you can feel tension.
Feel tension.
I can feel it. I know something's jumping off. It's a sixth sense you get if you've been in prison that I'm telling you, not only the little signs, you see the guy's got body armor now, or, magazines over here.
Got a towel around his neck, maybe.
He's right. You know the fucking towel. And you just know what's going on. So all of a sudden... I was with my buddy Ron, big Ron Nance. He's been in the system a lot. You might even know him. Great fucking guy. So we're in this place, and we put us backs to the wall, and we fucking watched them fucking go like fucking, and it was like 50 or 60 on 30.
Yeah.
And the guards couldn't control it. So they ended up down on the ground. So the guns come out. You know how that fucking works. And then all of a sudden, the grenades, not grenade, it wasn't like it did. I've been concussion grenaded in the hole. Yeah. I was. Yeah. I don't, these weren't, they were like smoke grenades or something. And all of a sudden, then everybody's on the ground. And they had to get hold of it. But they didn't lose any part of the prison, you know. But that riot was, afterwards, like, you know, like 13 people had to go to the outside hospital. And that's usually only when they get a stomach wound or something like that, you know, because they don't know if they're going to die.
In Leavenworth that year, they took over the yard, the auditorium, and the kitchen.
Oh.
and the kitchen, the cops were able to lock themselves in the dish room, but they had to keep them out through the little dish tray.
Oh, really?
The cops were fighting until about 2 or 3 in the morning. They was fighting all the inmates out to keep them from getting
That is fucking funny. That was in Leavenworth?
In Leavenworth.
I knew a couple of guys in Leavenworth. Probably you were there, too.
I was there twice.
Oh, Leavenworth twice?
Yeah, I told you, I left one on an escape in 1992 and went to Lewisburg.
Well, let me ask you about
I came back in 98, and when I went to the captain's review, the same captain that was in SIS is now a captain. And he said, "Oh, no, Warden, you don't want Lanier here. He's an escape risk." Warden looked at him, well, send him back to the bucket, you know, back to the hole. So I go there for about another 6 months until they, for whatever reason, they let me on the yard.
You know, it's funny because every prison I went to, we were talking about that, I had to go to captain's review.
Yeah.
Because I was a violent guy, I guess. I mean, I was a bad guy. And my case was something like, I wouldn't rat. And then I don't know if they did it on purpose, but they fucking put me on diesel therapy on the plane. How many times you been on Con Air?
I
Can't count.
I don't count them.
Yeah, I said I was over 16, 18 times. I couldn't even count Con Air. And you know how that is. And I'm in a black box.
Yep.
You are too.
Black box.
Fucking.
Look, I was not only in a black box, but I had some medical stuff going on. So I had to go to Springfield a few times. Oh. One was for a hip replacement.
Really?
So I wore all my cartilage. I'm a big runner. I was running 50 to 75 miles a week. A lot of running.
I won't drive that.
Yeah. So a lot of running because I was always trying to look for ways to get out. So what happened is they developed these 50,000 volts jackets. So whenever I would get transferred, my last several times I got transferred, I wouldn't go on Con Air. They put me on the Learjet.
Oh, you went on the jet?
Yeah. So I'd be by myself with the cops.
Dev jet. Literally, Oklahoma is their hub, and you'll see fucking Learjets, fucking whatever, C-120.
So they put me on the Learjet, and I'd be black boxed, but with the 50,000 volt electrical volts, that it's remote control.
So in case you move?
So, if you try to do anything, if you try to escape.
So
I tell that lieutenant, they put my vest on, I said, look, just be careful with that remote. I don't want no mishaps here. So then, a couple of years later, I have to go out to Springfield again. And for the hip replacement. That's a whole other story. Look, I went to Springfield for a hip replacement. I'm orange card, high accountability. The 2-hour count. Yeah. So they won't let me in the yard because I'm high accountability. So they put me in the hole. 7 months go by. And I asked the warden and the captain if they would approve a contact visit with my daughter. She lives in Colorado. She wants to come and see me. Would that be possible? They said, you know what, Lanier, you've been here this long. Yeah, we're going to let you have a contact visit. About 2 weeks go by. And I hear a rumor on the Dog and Pony Show. Every Monday they come by the hole and look in the...
It was Friday at some places, but
it was Monday at Springfield.
He knows that. The fucking Dog and Pony Show.
I love how he calls it that.
The warden and I had heard the captain was retiring, the captain Basinger who approved my visit. So I see the new captain. So I bang on my window. The captain comes over. The warden's across the hall from me at another cell. Right. So the captain, I said, hey, Captain, I'm Lanier. He said, I know who you are, Lanier. I said, well, the last captain approved the visit. My daughter's coming next week, and would you mind sending a memo about the contact visit? He looks at me, he says, Lanier, as long as I'm a captain here, you'll never get a contact visit from the hole. I said, oh, so I bang on the window. Real loud, because the warden is right across the cell.
The hall.
So the warden hears me banging. He turns around. He comes over and says, "What's all the banging, Lanier?" I said, "Look, would you please explain to the captain that you approved my contact visit next week with my daughter? I've been here for 7 months." And he says, "What'd the captain tell you, Lanier?" I said, "Well, the captain says he don't approve contact visits while you're in SHU, Special Housing Unit." He says, "Well, the captain tell you you're not getting a visit. I guess you're not getting a visit." Oof. Look, Larry, I kind of spun out.
Absolutely.
So what I told him was...
I just fucking got chills. Because when it deals with your kids,
what I told him,
you fucking want to go crazy.
So what I told the warden, I said, "You know what the fuck your problem is? You don't have a spine." So I went back, got my book, and I didn't say no more. I just started reading my book. So he says, "Lanier, I'm not playing games with you. I'll send your ass back." So I look over the book. I said, well, send me back if that's what you do. I'm there to get a hip replacement. They've already had me for 7 months. There was no need to keep me that long in the hole for 7 months waiting for a hip replacement. About 10 days go by, and I hear a lot of chains and rattling. So I get up out of my bunk, and I go to my window, and I'm looking to see, I hear the chains coming. I'm thinking I'm going to go get my hip replacement. They come to my door. They go, "Cuff up, Lanier." I said, "Oh, hip replacement today?" They said, "Nah, you're not getting no hip replacement. You pissed somebody off." I said, "Oh, really?" So cuff up, dress out. No, look, they take me to the airport in Springfield, but they put me on a Gulfstream 150. This is a huge, bigger than the Learjet they've been flying on me. They done flew a private plane in here because the warden wanted to get me out of there, I guess, and flew me back to Coleman 1 Penitentiary. So now I'm back in, but when I got on this jet, they got me all catered sub sandwiches and Dunkin' Donuts, and I'm thinking, you know what, life is good, man. I'm sitting here, and all the way back, I had the nicest officers. They flew the plane from Puerto Rico, and there was Puerto Rican, and the whole time I've never seen anything like it. They had showed me that.
They treated you like a human being.
Look, they played videos on the screen.
I said they treated you like a.
And they showed me all their families at the beaches and on these smartphones, and I'm going, look at this, because I've been staying away from the smartphones because I got stuff going on in the courts. So I fly back to Coleman USP 1, but this time not with a vest. Now they got these 50,000 volts that go across your arm.
Oh my God! They're gonna fuck you up.
So they creating technology. I said, "Yeah, it's a little towny."
Let me ask you a question. You see that thing you're talking about? The thing that shocks you?
Yeah.
Who the fuck comes up with this shit? What sick motherfucker mind is home saying,
old school, man.
I want to fuck people up.
Yeah.
Let me just fucking put fucking.
Well, that's like the black box was built by an inmate.
Fucking right.
In Murray.
Yeah, I heard that. I did hear that. I didn't.
If you don't know what a black box is.
I haven't. No, I did a video on it.
You did? Oh, okay.
You know how I did it? I actually, you want to tell you what happened? I end up going online. I buy the cuffs, the leg irons, the fucking chains, the fucking black box. I got it right here. Black box, I buy it all. I figured, what the fuck? I'll use it. And after I use it, I could tie up my girl and we got a fucking sick set. So,
all right, it only took 50 minutes this time.
Yeah.
So anyway,
you'll put it to use.
Yeah, you know I'm putting it to. Well, I fucking had my nephew, Paul. I said, come on, you're going to act as a guard. You're going to fucking cuff me up. And I'm going to, So he does it. And I'm telling you, Randy, I had this fucking feeling. And I told him, I says, Paul will tell you. I said, get these motherfucking things off me. Yeah. It's like you felt, it's not like it's just anybody else. And the black box is what did it.
They cut into you, man.
What it is people don't know, it's your handcuff, and then they take a box and they put it over.
A metal box.
You can't even move your fucking hand. I've seen guys, so fucked up. I got fucked up. They took me on a fucking plane just to take me around one nice lap and say, let's go back to Oklahoma. What the fuck am I on this plane for 16 hours? Fucking can't shit. You can't do anything. You remember what I used to tell the rookie? I tell to him, I used to tell the kids coming to prison, I said, listen, kid, don't eat that. Yo, OG, what do you mean? Don't eat that. You're going on a plane. I said, because when you're up in that fucking sky, they don't take those fucking goddamn belly chains for you to take a shit or anything. You will be fucking, your belly you will burst. They had a doctor there because of that. And they said, oh man, OG, you want that bologna shit? And I get that. I told you, don't eat it. You know, and sure enough, they're on the plane. And I'm going up, you know, to myself, fucking, you know, Oklahoma. You've been there a zillion times. You remember El Reno?
I went through El Reno before Oklahoma City.
That's what I did.
Yeah. I've been through El Reno in the middle of winter.
The birds in the fucking building.
All the windows were busted out, ice cold. I mean, and sleeping on cots.
Yes. Because you were a holdover. They didn't give a fuck about you.
I just want to tell you a little bit about how our perspective can change our experience on any situation. We have gifts. And without getting too profound, all of us on this planet, 7 billion people, have special gifts within us. But
you're not talking about you're not talking about everyone has a different gift because there's 7 billion people.
I'm talking about everybody's got gifts.
Some gift, okay.
Multitude of gifts.
Gotcha, okay.
I'm going to give you an example. So at Black Box, it's a pain in the ass. You get cut up, you can't move. Like with a handcuff, you can drink because you got a chain between the handcuffs. But with the Black Box, you don't have, that chain is locked in a box.
Right, can't move.
So this is one of the gifts we have. All of us have the capacity and the capability to change the experience that you're experiencing in any situation or circumstance. Doesn't matter what it is, just by changing your perception. By changing your perspective to the situation or circumstance, you'll change your experience. So now, when I get Black Box, instead of complaining or fucking bitching about it, which I don't do, I'm saying, man, this is fucking righteous because guess what? Guess who's the first person they taking off that plane? Me. And guess where I'm going? I'm going to the single suite up on the 7th floor. That's the hold. And I got a suite right to myself. I don't have nobody. I ain't smelling nobody's shit. I ain't listening to no one fart. And I ain't got to deal with a knucklehead.
Right.
So I'm saying,
good way of looking at it.
So I changed my perspective
Sure.
that I'm blessed. Because I'm getting first fed. I'm getting off the plane first. And I'm getting my first one-man suite by myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm maximum security and I'm Black Box. So that's one of the gifts we have. It doesn't matter what the circumstance, what the situation is going on. We have the ability, the capability to change our experience. So if you're not liking something in life, for real, change your perspective and look at it from another angle, and you'll create a different experience of the situation. And that even goes with chronic pain.
Listen, I lived with chronic pain. I still live with chronic pain, and I actually got off. I used to take 180 milligrams of oxys a day. Mm-hmm. I take none.
Right on. I'm glad you don't take none.
But you know what it is? I'm a person who's done a lot of drugs, did stuff, but I can control it. I can quit when I want. I don't. And that's what I think. I have a saying on this show. It's you control it. Don't let it control you. I don't give a fuck what it is. Fucking drugs, alcohol, fucking food, gambling, I don't give a fuck. You control it. Don't let it control you, and you'll fucking. That's why AA, and I did a lot of this. I speak around the country on this. Mm-hmm. You have to understand that obviously addiction or anything else, there is a physical thing. You have to beat that, whatever it is. But the mental part is the hardest part to beat. And to beat that mental part, you have to understand you either accept that you can't beat it, but now you can control it, whether it's you control it, you know. Listen, when you tell a person, and you know you've been out there, if I took a 16-year-old kid and I said, listen, you never can do this ever again in your whole fucking life, ever, and he loved it, you can't do it. There's going to be that point he says, fuck this shit. They're down on other things and this happens. I don't give a fuck. Are you kidding me? I'm living life. But now when you learn to control it and do it and everything else, it's a whole different animal with that.
Yeah. So you and I got different opinions on this. Mm-hmm. And I want to tell you something before I even tell you my opinion. Opinions are the lowest form of knowledge on the planet.
Agreed.
Because it doesn't take a fact to back up an opinion. I can spit anything out of my mouth I want. It's just an opinion.
Right.
So if you ever get yourself getting mad at somebody because you don't like their opinion, check your own self. Because why? Opinions are the lowest form of knowledge on the planet.
That's a good way to look
All
at
right?
it, too.
So anyway, so my opinion is you ain't controlling nothing. If you thinking you're in control of something, you got a illusion. Because it's like this right now, your nervous system. You think you're controlling that? Your hearing. You ain't controlling that. It happens. Your heart's beating. You're living. So I worked in addiction for 5 years when I come out of prison. I came home. 10 days out of the joint, I met a young lady. Beautiful, 36-year-old, beautiful woman, fell in love. And she had gotten in a car accident. And she got T-boned and it broke her arm. They gave her oxycodone for 18 months. I moved in with her 6 months out of my release at the halfway house. So for the next year, her prescription was oxycodone. At 18 months, they stopped the prescription. They wouldn't refill it. So she started copping
Heroin
or caps of dope.
Okay. Yeah, anything. Yeah, I'll be any opiate.
I came home on Father's Day and found her. Oh. And she didn't make it. I gave her CPR until the cops came.
And they didn't have Narcan back then, did they?
Yeah, they did, but they Narcaned her, but she was already gone.
Oh.
So I went and got a license to become a behavioral health technician about drug addiction. So for 5 years now, I've started working in substance abuse. And I've come to understand that a lot of the addiction has to do with the way we identify ourselves, because we validate our identity through our behavior. If you think you're a tough guy or you think you're a golfer, you're going to talk golf, you're going to play golf, or you're going to watch golf. Just like me, I identify myself as a guy that likes to drive race cars. So I instruct people how to go fast at Daytona, Sebring, and Miami, right? So we validate our identity through our behavior.
But isn't that just doing what you like?
If you want to change, if you're doing drugs and you see that it's unmanageable, you have to change the way you identify yourself. Because if you don't, you're going to continue to validate who you really are. You know, and it's not who you really are or who you identify yourself with. So change the way you identify yourself and you'll change your behavior, because we validate our behavior. We validate our identity through our behavior.
But Larry's whole movement is, if you can't control it, don't do it. Or validate your behavior, seek help. If it's something that you can control, that's why he's not anti-drug. Yeah. Because he thinks that you could do drugs without being addicted to them, specific drugs.
So I want to tell you something.
Right?
100%.
I want to tell you something. You see, because of the drug. Look, it's not the fucking drug you're addicted to. That's not the problem. It's your thinking. For real. Change the way you think and you'll change your life. For real.
Right.
So this is why I was explaining, if you identify yourself as a person that likes to snort coke, I identify myself as a guy that likes to smoke. I smoke weed every day. I validate it all the time. All right? So what I'm saying
so is that wrong?
No.
Okay.
No,
that's
what I'm saying is, if you have a problem that's unmanageable, look at how you identify yourself. These are people that are, let's say, drug addicts. All right? If they are unmanageable and out of pocket, screwing their family over, doing things that are abnormal, well, then obviously it's not working for them.
Right.
So
you're saying the same thing, I think.
But it's not the drugs that is the demon here. It's the way they think.
Right. It's the person's mindset.
But I never say it's the drug. That's what I say. I never say
the drugs.
I never said it's the drug.
You guys say the same thing in a different way.
Whatever it is in here.
Change the way you think.
It's it.
That's it.
Exactly. Okay, now we're going to get back to something.
Hey,
I got to get back to something.
Get back to the book.
You want to smoke your joint. You're a little behind. And why don't I have a drink? Am I like
I can listen.
Is the bar fucking dry?
I don't know.
Where's my scotch? I gave the glass up. No.
Is he like giving Jason a hint there? Is that what that was?
One more shots.
I'm good.
Okay,
I'm a lightweight.
I want to ask now. I'm going to ask you some back to a
Nothing
little
wrong
bit
with that.
I
Cheaper.
want to sell some books.
No, absolutely, a little bit about the book, a little bit about your race cars and everything.
Now, my race cars, not only did I do Indy cars, I drove sports cars. The fastest, the most exotic, fastest sports cars on the planet.
Which one?
They're called GTP, Grand Touring Prototypes.
Yeah.
I won the championship in 1984.
That was right around the time they started.
They had started it in the early 80s. Actually, the 917, they just didn't name it GTP.
Right.
This guy
Right.
knows cars.
No,
So-
he knows racing is what he knows.
Yeah, he knows that shit.
Yeah. Well, obviously, and I think the nature of the beast is obviously by default you also know cars.
I just want a Bugatti.
A Bugatti? I'd love to have a Bugatti.
2 million.
Man.
I wouldn't. I would take a freaking Subaru STI over a
get
Bugatti
the
any
fuck
day.
out of
That's
here.
just what I like. Hey,
you.
listen, we
Thank
were
you.
just saying that
Thank
there's
you,
difference in
Jason.
opinions.
That's a part of his new job.
I'd take a
Bartender.
Ferrari Enzo.
Oh man, me too.
yeah.
Oh boy.
Huh?
Well, we'll talk cars.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk cars later. Let's get back to your criminal days. Let's put cars in this. You got into selling marijuana
At a young age.
at a very young age. Did you sell it to do it, like make the money so you could get high, like most people do?
When I was 15 and started selling it, I sold it because I could smoke for free.
That's what I.
Bottom line. I wasn't about making money. I didn't care about the money. And
That's what I was telling. We were talking earlier. I said
it was
that's
nice to be able to smoke, and back then we smoked. We'd make our own bongs out of bamboo. So I'd smoke bongs. I'd sit on beanbag chairs and smoke weed all day.
I mean, I did. I did too. Wow, man, I was just a
On
bad
beanbag?
kid. No,
Beanbag chairs?
beanbag. No, we would have fucking threw it off the bridge and try to hit somebody. When you started making money, where did that, like, when you say, wait a minute, I'm making this, I can make another 500, another 500. You know, how did you do that?
It just evolved from pounds to bales.
But how does it? No, wait. You see, a lot of people are going to want to know this, and you haven't answered in any of the questions. How do you get that connection? How do you know the big guy? How do you eventually get to where you can, on credit, I am assuming,
Yep.
I want 165,000 pounds of
arm.
fucking. Trust me.
Yep.
Now that started back then, did it not?
That started years prior.
That's what I'm trying to get to the audience, and they got to know how. Listen, it's easy to be a drug dealer if you figure out routes and this, and you had the money. How do you get the connections? How do you get into the guerrillas? How do you know to fucking go there and trust the motherfucker? He's gonna fucking kill you and eat you. What the fuck? You know.
The first time I went to Columbia, I had several connections to meet there.
And it was Columbia
Colombians.
where you got the weed or the coke?
Yeah. Weed. I'm a weed smuggler.
Oh, well, coke, weed, whatever.
Yeah. So
Paulie was 100 keys is what he got.
yeah. So
And you knew Willie Falcone.
no Willie,
I know
no
Will
Sal.
I knew him both.
So the first time I went to Columbia to talk to the Columbians, we met 3 different families from different connections that I have here in Florida. And they said, oh, well, we talk to our guys, because I'd been offloading. I started offloading for other smugglers.
Right, you were working for a guy.
I was working for several
Typical
different
guy.
smugglers.
Right.
In Florida, it was a lot of smugglers, a lot.
Yeah, they built South Florida, obviously.
So I was offloading for 3 different smugglers at the time, and some of the people that I was distributing to also knew Colombians. One of my partners knew some Colombians. We went down and visited 3 families and settled on one family who ended up being the right choice. They ended up being the main family.
Again, you don't know, how do you know? Like, is it just a fucking luck?
Well, I think a lot of times when we do things, when you feel your instinct, look, every decision we make, and a lot of times we go against our gut. So if you can really pay attention,
I agree with that.
If you can pay attention to your instincts, it'll help you in a lot of times to make the right choices. It really will. And that goes along with relationships. If you're not feeling it with it, and your gut's telling you, you know what, I don't get a good.
Well,
deal.
then don't go with her. So now let's
Yeah.
get to the pot. So now you meet the families. You then have these connections that now do they say to you, just to give the audience an idea, I don't know. Listen, you're a pretty good guy, you know, Randy. You got a 20 key or 20 bail credit.
No, my very first load, I did give them a deposit.
Okay. See?
Okay, I wanted to show good faith. I was wanting 15,000 pounds, and I gave them some money when I took it down, and I gave them a deposit.
And I got to ask you, where did you get the money?
I got the money from selling weed. I'm a weed
On the street. You mean the little shit?
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
you built it up.
The
Okay.
pounds and the bales.
But you ended up getting partners. You ended up getting partners.
I ended up taking, it was 4 of us when the big loads, when it came to the barges and tugboats, which is a whole nother story.
Well, that's a great fucking story.
So, yes, I took on, look, it takes a village to get things done. And
It's like every other business.
Yeah, if you try, it's like every other business. Don't think you're going to be a one-man army. So it takes a village to get things done. And when we get things done, it's who you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with good people, you're going to create good stuff in any business. So it really pays.
Okay, so now you go from, your first one was 15,000 pounds.
Right, yeah, my first load that I owned.
And you gave half down or whatever you did.
I gave a
your
portion
deposit
of it
or whatever. Down. How does it get to where it was? I mean, was it just you sit in a bar and say, hey,
no bars.
or, sitting somewhere and sitting there or smoking joints because you're not creative you get, and say, I think we can do fucking 50,000 pounds if we get a barge or a fucking tugboat. Is that how you did it? Or
yeah, you're very much on point.
Wow.
And I went from a 68-footer that I purchased for 15 and 18,000 pound loads to a 150-foot tugboat, which I put 35,000 pounds on. Then, when I first took the boat to Columbia, we realized, you know what, we should have just pulled the barge behind it and loaded that up. So it just evolved from.
I mean, it's just great business minds. I love business. Obviously, we're businessmen here.
One thing about business is, as you do more of it, and I tell my family, we want to learn how to live a skillful life. And how do you develop skill? Through practice. Doesn't matter if you're doing a YouTube video, the practice you get, you're going to say, oh, let's do it this way, and let's get these devices, and let's do this. You evolve because you learn.
I don't call it evolve. I always call that experience.
Yeah.
I tell young kids, listen,
it.
I'm not smarter than you. I just got more experience than you. And I got experience in a place you don't want to fucking go. That's exactly what I tell them.
I wish that upon no one.
I know, and I really do. And you know. Absolutely.
Right?
So now you're bringing the marijuana into, we got to know how you did it up here.
So I brought a couple loads right not far from where you live.
Now, did you set up a house here?
I rented a house about 2 miles north of Sebastian Inlet. It was
Palm Bay.
My closest neighbor was about less than a quarter mile away. Oh. We were the only houses at the time in 1982 on the beach 2 miles north of Sebastian Inlet. Wasn't a lot of homes. So I leased this home, and my idea was to bring this load, 15,000 pounds, a half a mile off my house that's right on the beach, and I'm going to run Zodiacs all night long.
To your house?
To my house.
Right.
So I sent the neighbor a gift package for, I think it was for 5 people. I think they only had like 4, maybe 3 or 4, to Disney World, round trip paid, hotel, everything.
Just to get them the fuck out of there.
And they took it. We put it in their mailbox, and they bit. Free package, round trip, everything. All.
They didn't even ask where it came from?
I guess they might have checked with Disney World. They check, and it's all.
They were like,
paid
it was
for.
real, yeah.
It's all real.
Yeah, it's paid and everything, sure.
Yeah, we paid them
I
around.
love them fucking
So now we have the one
that's
house.
business people.
We have no neighbors now. I've got a green light. So the boat comes, there's nobody there, and we run little rubberized Zodiacs all night long.
Oh, sure, because you're bringing how much tons in there?
So that was 15,000 pounds.
Was that your first one?
That was my first one that I owned.
And you decided Melbourne, Florida?
Yeah. Unloaded it. Had some stuff that didn't go right. I learned from it.
With the girl, the couple walking? In the movie,
that was the.
Was that dramatic?
No, that might have been the first load. Yes, I think that was that night.
2 people.
I had a lot of stuff that happened my first load. I lost 2 vessels. One of them flipped over, and
in a storm.
It was about 4-foot waves, and as he was offloaded, he's going back out to the boat, and the boat capsized. It went up in the air and it flipped over and lost the boat, but the guy swam back to shore.
Oh, but he lost all the load. The boat.
No, the boat was empty. It was going back.
Oh, it was going back.
Right. Yeah.
So lost the boat, but not...
Lost the boat. And then my biggest boat, which was like a 22-foot Zodiac, I tried to put in with a pickup truck and a trailer to back it in on the beach about 4 miles, 2 miles down the road.
Right here?
Right, yeah. Well, they got stuck in the sand. So my big boat that I was planning, they never made it to the offload. So that morning, when sun was coming up, I still had 700 pounds on the beach. I get a call at my stash house saying,
700 pounds.
Hey, the sun's starting to come up and we got 700 pounds on the beach and I'm worried walkers are going to start coming by.
Yeah.
And
so
they are.
I had to hustle up and call some people and say, hey, hurry up and get your ass to the...
I mean, hurry.
I had people at some hotels up here in Fort Pierce and Sebastian just on call, just if I needed them, with vans. So I sent more vans and more people to help unload it. But it made me think, I can do this better. So I went and bought outdoor Astro carpet, AstroTurf. AstroTurf. I rolled that all down the beach. Then I got 4x8 foot plywood, and I put a conveyor, a collapsible conveyor belt that ran off electricity. I ran a cord all the way to the house. I took the plywood at the bottom of the beach head. It's a big beach head. So I put the plywood there, collapsible conveyor belt. The van would back right up to the conveyor belt, and we'd sling it right in. This is the second load that I was able to unload twice as fast.
And you did that here too?
Did that too. Yeah, same house.
That's good.
Yeah, 3 months later.
Melbourne, Florida is in there. Melbourne, Florida is notorious for something.
3 months later.
Having a major drug dealer's house in their backyard.
Yeah, Mel Boring.
3 months later, I had a second load come in. And listen, this is crazy. So the first load, I fly up in a little twin-engine plane. I'm watching for the Coast Guard. And at the inlet, there's a Coast Guard cutter pointing out towards the Bahamas, out to the ocean with their radar running.
Right.
So I have to call the captain and tell him, you can't come in tonight. He's coming in that night. You can't come in tonight. There's a Coast Guard sitting here. So he goes up north and gets away from the Coast Guard. The second day, we're supposed to unload. The Coast Guard cutter's still there. And he tells me, my boat captain, I don't care if he's coming in. I'm running out of fuel. I'm coming in tonight.
Oh, my God.
I said, all right. So I land, I take the plane back to the airport, drive up to the house, and I'm pulling into, I go look at the inlet, and there goes the Coast Guard heading out towards the Bahamas. I go, oh, shit, he might run into our vessel. He radios the vessel, the Coast Guard, telling him who he is. This is Coast Guard cutter so-and-so. Please leave the vicinity. We're going to do target practice. So now the captain of the boat with the 18,000 pounds, he has to like zigzag and like he's trawling or fishing or something. He leaves. And that night at about 2 in the morning, he finally comes in. The Coast Guard left, and we got the load off.
You got the whole load off.
How big of a load was that one?
That was 18,000 pounds.
And I got to ask you, how long does it take to get rid of 18,000 pounds?
1 day.
What?
Yeah, 1 day.
So you
as soon as the Wade went to my stash house,
right.
I had already had distributors waiting at hotels with campers and trucks and vans
and cash
to come and get the stuff.
How many people?
I only dealt with about 4 distributors.
Okay, gotcha.
The less distributors you have,
the better, of course.
the less heat.
Yeah, of course.
So,
it's like anything.
My last load was 165,000. I had 3 distributors.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah.
165,000. While we're talking, and to let everybody know,
each one of them distributors, they had.
Oh, 20. Yeah, it's a big thing.
It kept branching down.
Yeah. It's like Walmart or whatever. Yeah. So now you take this much. Well, it's not. What
no, it is. It is. I just like the
it.
comparison. That's all.
You take, okay, so now you got all this dope. You're getting big, Who comes up with and I'm letting the audience know, there's a part in the book and a part in the movie where you guys made the false floor for the tug, the barge.
For the barge.
And it was for the ballast. So
Right.
they had half of the water, so they opened the thing and they think, oh, it's the water.
Yeah.
But under that, they had the fucking dope. And you must have, who comes up with that? And now, how do you take it on and off? Is it literally welders and build a ship every time?
So the ballast that you're talking about got a little misrepresented on the show. The ballast is, the barge is 300 feet long. Down the center, it's 6 stories high.
Now, you own this?
My partner does.
Okay.
Yes, he owns the barge. The barge has ballast where they pump salt water into it. So when the barge is empty, it needs weight to make it ride stable in the waves. Right. When it's loaded, they pump the water out to balance out the thing. It's called ballast.
They do that. They do that in the Coast Guard with the icebreaker.
So the ballast for these barges on this particular barge was down the sides of the 6-story, 350 feet barge. Okay. So what we did is we welded 3/4 inch steel down the sides, about half of the 6 stories. So we had 3 stories, and each one of these, as you go down, there was big steel rib cages. So each compartment was a compartment where this water is supposed to be. But we made half of it hollow. When you pump water, it only goes 2 or 3 stories down. 3 stories down. The rest underneath of here, where all the shit was at, the containerized and trailers and stuff, was inside the barge. The top part was water.
Okay,
so we could clear customs and they could pump the water out, which they did in San Francisco one time.
And they pump the water out and then they open it with like it's got to be sealed tight. In the movie, it said that it wasn't sealed tight. And in the show, the Netflix show, Need for Weed, everybody on Netflix on Bad Sports, Need for Weed. They said in there that 2 people died. You don't know that, and I don't want to even talk about it because if you don't know it, how can I ask you?
No, that's just a rumor.
Right. So that's done. The methane, though, I did not know marijuana put off a methane. Did you?
No. And here's the thing: I've never heard of it happening before. So
any herb that decomposes like that can absolutely.
I did
like
not.
hops
I had no idea.
Which is the plant? The marijuana plants actually is I think related to the hops plant.
Hops for like barley and hops for beer. Yeah. Are you fucking kidding me?
No,
I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure.
All right, let's get now. In between your smuggling, you started out making money and doing your great, smart guy. You fucking start racing cars.
Love racing cars.
You start on a small series.
Yep.
But
SCCA.
But you win it.
I won the Southeastern Regional Championship.
First year, out the fucking box. How does that happen?
First year. Well, what's amazing was the first race that I bought this old Porsche, a 1957 Porsche in Tennessee. I never saw it.
What is that car worth today?
I sent a friend up to get it, and he calls me. He says, "I'm in Fort Lauderdale." He tells me what it is. We buy it for $7,500. We came back. It had drum brakes on it. It had wiring from like lamp cords from your house. It wasn't a race.
1950 something, yeah.
And so we cleaned it all up, and the floorboard was rusted out. We had to put all new metal there.
Now this is your race car.
This is going to be my race car.
Fucking nuts.
It became my race car.
Yeah, you know, the success of somebody. I love this because it's fucking great.
We got this. I take that car to get my competition license. And I get my competition license. Now I'm ready to go.
Now you never raced the fucking thing in your life?
No. I'm just got to get my license first. So now I take that car to get my license.
And you never did this as a kid?
No.
You never grew up, go-karts or anything?
I made go-karts out of push go-karts.
Down a hill.
I would steal my sister's skates and put the little wheels on the plywood. And my brothers and I would push each other on the little piece of wood.
I remember
with the skateboard, with the skates wheels. And so I got the car ready to race, and I take it to West Palm Beach is my local home track. So I take it to a Sports Car Club of America. The first race I can finally, I've got my.
You got your license. I can go race.
I got my license. They put a big X on the car to let everybody know this is this guy's first race. All right, so you got an X all on your car. You got your number and an X right beside it, meaning this is this man's first race.
Yeah, so everybody stay the fuck away from him. Right?
So I didn't qualify I'm qualifying to.
That's the first you ever. Never raced.
Yeah, no. I qualified towards the back a little bit. And anyway, somehow, when the flag, and I don't even know, by the end of the race, the last lap, I get the checkered flag and I'm a winner. And it's just...
I mean, they did it in the movie, and it's... I always think of movies because I know how they work, the show. Did it have a creative license? Did they just add that part? No.
I won my very first race. I entered that car, and that happening with my family there. I had my dad, my mom, everybody was there, and then it was so exhilarating because we was there over the weekend barbecuing, and we're making a big social. It's a camaraderie at these amateur clubs. I love because you really get to know the people who's beside you, and there might be a tent and a camper, and
they'll help each other.
And they help each other. Look, I've had so many people help me with clutches and stuff that I didn't have, from tachometer cables that broke. Yes,
absolutely.
But even in the other races, the competitors will help you with motors and so forth. The camaraderie with team sports is really outstanding, and I love being on a team because it's a team effort.
Absolutely a team. It's not the driver, just like it's not the jockey. I don't give a fuck. It's the horse. But anyway. So now you win this fucking thing. Are you getting paid for that?
No, just a hobby.
No, I don't mean you getting paid like in the salary. Does the team win money when they win races or do something?
No, not in amateur racing.
There's no money about it's just cost you.
It costs you money.
It costs you money.
Yeah.
This is a hobby. It's amateur racing. You do not get paid if you finish first, 30th, or whatever it is. You're there you're a member of a club, and
gotta pull hard. Well, you got your joint though.
Yeah, I'm good.
You get the joint. That's old school right there. Yeah. I'll grab the joint.
Yeah, the vapes do something with my throat. Yeah. So I like the joints.
These are so easy. Things that, I gotta go fucking roll with joints. I don't roll joints. I get my son to roll.
I roll joints like in the quickness.
Right? My son rolled these for us.
Yeah, he's good. He puts a nice filter in it, and it's nice.
He knows what he's doing.
That's the pot king. I go. But so now, Randy, you go your first race. Where do you go? You get no money. It's great. Everybody knows. I mean, that's a big deal, right? Where was that series held at?
The Sports Car Club of America runs all around the United States.
Okay, so
in every state.
Oh, so that's every state. So that's where you get to know people and stuff like that as well, right?
So I started taking that little Porsche in a pickup truck and pulling it up and down the East Coast. North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, Daytona, Florida, Texas, World Speedway out in Texas. And 1980, I win the Southeastern Region National Championship.
Now, I know this is going to be a tough question. Of course, I would do maybe. You said in the movie or in the show that you kept racing and drugs separate.
I kept racing and
the drugs. You're smuggling, selling weed. That's right, man.
Yeah,
Fuck, it's not a drug. You're right. Yeah. Selling the weed.
It's a plant.
It's a fucking plant. Selling the weed and the cars off. You didn't intermingle. Did you?
I didn't. I don't understand what you're telling me. What?
You didn't want to bring the weed business into the car business. In other words, I know it's supplying it. It's the money for it. But you didn't want nobody to know anything.
Oh, no.
Like that.
I didn't want nobody to know that I was involved with cannabis, weed, marijuana.
Whatever. Now, I got a question for you. You're a businessman, and you go out on a fucking trip to wherever the fuck your car takes you, and there's people you know from the business. You don't go meet them. You don't talk to them. You don't do things.
With other racers?
No, not racers, druggies. I mean, you're going around the world.
Yeah.
With the racing.
Sure.
How does it intermingle with a drug guy that you know from Miami or California or Illinois or something?
So with the racing, several people that I knew in racing that had done quite successful, winning Le Mans, winning big races. We knew each of us were smuggling marijuana, but we never spoke about it in public with anybody. It was only something private.
No, I totally understand that, obviously. And that's a small maybe. I meant, like, I'm a business guy. You know, it's even funny, even what we do now. If I got to go to California, when I went to California, I hate that fucking place. When you got to go to California, I said, okay, we're here for a party for something. They would give me a 420 party.
A 420
party. And, but let's do some videos. Let's study how this podcast works. That's how we modeled things, and that's how we did things. So I was doing business in my head of multiple businesses. It would be hard for Larry to fucking run that weed business. I can run a weed business, obviously. I mean, not as good as you, but you get the weed business, and here I got my car business, and I'm not going to work both of them.
No, I'm not working both of
them. I know. I'm. To me, it is an amazing feat you did that.
I'm going to compartmentalize, and I want to tell you, just like if you want to call it being a kingpin of a drug organization or whatever, you compartmentalize. If I have you doing a job, I tell you, I don't want you going any further out with anybody else. Like, I compartmentalize. Your job is to do this. If you're a distributor, you're distributing it. But you're not going to pay me. You're going to pay this guy. I don't want to see you after this. And so I have one guy taking up all the money. So I kind of compartmentalized just with racing and the weed business. I kept it separate.
And I think that's an amazing feat, because I know, as a guy who has a lot of things going on in his head, cigar brands, this things, I couldn't do it.
Oh yeah, I had guys ask me if I could deliver weed in my tractor trailers. Okay, I'll give you an example of what you're talking about.
That's, you know,
I've got tractor trailers that haul race cars. Well, could I? No, I'm not putting no weed in no tractor trailers that's involved with my racing. It's separate. It's not, has nothing to do with the weed business.
Wow, so that takes a lot. Because, you know, Larry's thinking, wait a minute, I can save a lot of money. I can do this.
Sure, yeah.
Did everybody on the team know that it was marijuana driven?
I had a couple of my workers, my offloaders, that worked for me
on the race team.
On the race team too. So,
yeah.
But they was instructed, don't ever say anything.
Just forget it.
Even though you're good friends with the crew chief and you're good friends with the mechanics, that's none of that business. You don't talk about it at the shop.
So the rest of them didn't know, though?
No, the rest of them. Only a couple of them knew, but all the rest of them, no. But I'm sure they had suspicions because...
Sure, where's the money coming from?
Because my partner was a race car driver.
Whittington?
An airplane racer.
Whittington?
Yes. So they had won Le Mans there. So they probably figured out we was up to something good.
Well, you know, that is funny.
Bringing weed into the United States.
That's
good.
That's good. Obviously, they did. Like, even when I was obviously stealing the most jewels in the world. I'm a fucking... nobody. They knew I did something. Yeah. They knew I was involved with organized crime, but they didn't know what. Nobody picked that I was the biggest jewel robber. You had drug guy, you had a fucking gambling operation, which I had all that too. But
Did you ever run across Murph the Surf?
Oh,
you know,
yes, of course,
yeah. Well, Murph the Surf is a good
He's
friend.
dead. He died.
Yeah, he died. He's a good friend, and one of his partners.
Gene Robinson?
No, Gene will knock your ass out, man.
Tell me, can that motherfucker fight? Listen, I was with Gene Robinson in Atlanta.
Alive? Is he still? I think he's dead, maybe. Yeah.
You know, listen, I was in Atlanta.
You know how many men he knocked out?
Listen, I was you're gonna love this. I'm in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I get to fucking Atlanta. I got to see Vic Arena. All the mob.
Vic lived 2 cells down from me in Terre Haute, and I tell you who, Joey.
Merlino.
Huh?
No, Molino. Joey Molino was the Philly
Joey
guy.
Molino, Murder Incorporated. He wrote the book Murder Incorporated. Joey. God.
Nah, I don't know.
He's from Philly. Anyway, Vic lived 2 stores down from me. Joey lived here. And,
you know Nicky Scarfo?
I'm not friends with him, but I know who he is, of course. But Danny Byfield, you know who that is? The Hell's Angel?
Yeah.
He lived right beside me and Vic.
Vic and I were close to him and Patty Amato. Do you remember Patty Amato?
Amato sounds familiar.
Yeah, he was his underboss or whatever you want to call him. And, where were we going with that?
Listeners are now Googling names like, who the hell are they talking about?
Are we allowed to say names?
Fucking ain't that in the fuck
because
you
this
want.
is the real fucking
deal, motherfucker. But what were we talking about? Who were we talking about?
I don't know. You're asking me. You
I
guys
don't know,
we're throwing names around. I love it. This is what's happening here. Is it's rare.
How did we get on those names?
I don't know what the fuck we talked
Take
about.
another hit.
No. So let's get back to the show here, everybody. Okay, so now you're in the Le Mans. You win. You get to the 1 Series. You know, you win this. You're
I don't win Le
rookie.
Mans.
No, not Le Mans. I mean, the rookie of the year. Not rookie of the year. You win the circuit. I don't know called the North American circuit.
Okay, so 1982, I drove for Ferrari in Europe.
How do you get that
Ferrari
job?
Team. I was blessed.
But
I'm in Daytona, 1982, January of 82, and February, I think it's January. And one of the drivers, Janet Guthrie, who's a world-renowned female driver, one of the first females ever driven at the Indianapolis 500, she's driving with this Ferrari team. And one of my friends is a guy that's like a gopher. He gets parts and runs parts from the garage to the pits and stuff and cleans up. He tells me, I'm there with my family and a bunch of other friends and other motorhomes. We're there for the weekend to party. And I'm hanging at the Ferrari garage, and he tells me the driver, Janet Guthrie, is getting ill and she can't drive. They might need a driver. So I said, man, listen, tell this dude that, tell the owner that I've got my driver suit, my helmet, I got it in my motorhome, and I'm a race car driver.
And you never were.
And no, I was, and I had won the Southeastern amateur championship driving a part. I said, go, let me meet him. So I kind of stay on him, and he introduces me to the owner of the team, and the owner says, listen, you're so persistent. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give you 4 laps, and you show me what you got in 4 laps. So I go out, I get in I've never driven a Ferrari in my life. I go out, I get in the Ferrari, and luckily I'd been there in my Porsche in the old 1957 Porsche, in that track. Right, so I knew the track. And I go out in 4 laps, I was within 1 second of the renowned French driver named Bob Wallach, who's a factory driver for Porsche.
Wow, she must have blew the owner
I
away.
came back in, and they're all standing in the pits, and I get out, and he looks at me, he says, keep your stuff around, you got to drive, you got to ride. So I got to ride, and I drove there. The car ended up breaking a gearbox that race, 24 hours at Daytona, and 6 months later, 5 months later, in May, he asked me if I'd go in June to Le Mans, France, and drive with the Ferrari team in Le Mans. So I did. We ended up running out of fuel on the back straighter stretch of Mazan straightaway. The track's 8 miles long, and the rules are if you can get it back on your own power, you can refuel it. But it was so far away.
Oh, you mean you could push it?
Yeah. So we DNF'd on that race, but I came back and started getting rides with other teams now, because when I was running, we was running in 3rd place and so forth in both.
So they
races.
knew you could drive. It was just the car mechanics
that helped me
happened.
get rides with other teams, and it just started from that.
You know, I want to tell the audience and the young people who do listen, that is a hell of a fucking story of persistence, of going after what you want. You know, I tell people all the time, you gotta fucking go for it. Don't fucking wait. What are you waiting for? Yeah. Why are you waiting? Today's the day, not yesterday, not right. Tomorrow. And what you said, it was just blew in my head. It says, I'll tell you what happened. I got persistent. I went there and I told them and I did what I had to do. Kids don't want to do that. They think they're going to be discovered on a fucking...
You don't want to give up.
You know, they think they're going to be discovered in their fucking bedroom playing fucking GTA. Well, I can't knock that because I do commercials. No, whatever. My point is, that story of how you become a driver really is just amazing to me. It really blows me away, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. With that said, okay, now let's keep going. Now you win this. You grow up and then win this.
So I'll finish. So from Le Mans, I came back. I started getting rides. Finishing good. Took third place in Mosport, Canada with another team.
He is passionate. He remembers this shit.
Doing right, doing good. If we're finishing in the top 5 sometimes. but sometimes with DNF, parts break. Okay. And I'm at the Miami Grand Prix, 1983, and we had qualified up front.
First position.
No,
the pole.
I think we qualified. I think third spot, first row inside the second row, and we qualified really good in the top 5. And that morning of the race, I go out and I warm the car up, do some practice laps, and something breaks in the gearbox. So I made it back to, they have to pull me back into the pit area, and we take it to the garage, and the owner of the team, I find out he doesn't have the pod to fix the car. Oh. So I done rented almost a whole floor in the Everglades Hotel for all my family and friends. I got a catered tent.
And you're done.
I got a catered tent with a party over here on the track with all catered
oh my God.
people and friends. And I had lots and lots of people there, and I have to watch the race from my hotel suite. And
killed you.
It killed me. I said, I told myself then, you know what? I think the better way for me is to do this myself. So I made up that day when I watched that race in 1983 that I was going to form a team. And this is called the International Motor Sanctioning Association. IMSA is what it's called, IMSA. So it's the most exotic, fastest sports cars on the planet. That's where the series runs out of. Grand Touring prototypes.
So these are cars you don't know.
Well, I'm learning about them.
No, I'm saying people like I would never know about it.
Yeah.
He would never know about it.
So I ended up getting 2 cars. They come from London. They're race car factory that builds called a March. They got ground effects with wings on the back, wings on the front. Wow. And very exotic.
And they go crazy miles an hour. I mean,
very, very fast car. It's just fun to drive and a blast. And from there, it's history. The following year, when I put the team together, at the same time, I'm bringing loads in. I
was going to get there. I want to stop you. Yeah. Now you get to be a good driver, and now obviously you need more money either to do something with, and now you're building the loads. What are the average loads now coming in?
Now I'm bringing in 150,000 pounds at a time.
On what?
On a 300-foot barge with a 150-foot tugboat.
Okay, and that's at the end, right? No.
That's from
Did you go to anything like...
1983, 1984, 1985, 1986, every year.
So you bought the barge and you bought the tugboat?
My partner had the barge already. He owned the tugboat and salvage operation in Santo Domingo.
Oh, so you make him a partner, he fixes the barges, and it's everybody...
Remember what I said? It's who you surround yourself
Absolutely.
with. Okay?
You got to be... Hey, listen.
Yeah.
Who do I need most? I need a guy who owns a fucking boat and we could put a floor in it.
Yep.
Whatever the fuck, whoever come up with that. Again, genius. I love that fucking guy. Whoever of you came up with that.
It takes a team.
A team, but whatever it is, it was just a good idea because you beat the customs for so long. But let me ask you how. Whenever I see an operation, like either mine, we kept it smaller, so we didn't get rat on. We understand. I always say, the biggest thing in prison, three can keep a secret if 2 are dead. How many guys got that tattooed on their fucking neck? How don't you get rats involved?
You keep it to a minimum.
I mean, you got a big operation. No, you can't go to 50,000 pounds with the connections in Colombia, obviously, or wherever your connections are. The boat people, the barge people. There's so many people involved. Somebody gets arrested, and that's how these things go down. I mean, they always do. And then you know what happens? And I'm going to talk about that, too. I got to talk about that.
So I would bring loads in. Let's say I brought it into New Orleans. Mm-hmm. The next load, I'm going to California. I'm switching up. One load now, next, I might go to New York City up to Connecticut.
But who do you think knew about those loads? Did you have it? Did you know who knew about those loads?
Nobody knew exactly where it was coming into except for 1, 2, 3, 4, and the crew that was on the boat.
Right, of course.
So
okay,
I kept it to a minimum.
Yeah,
I wouldn't tell my distributors exactly where until about maybe 2 months before a couple of people that had to get warehouses, I would tell where to go to and get warehouses.
Right, so they can get them to offload
so they
the
can
boat.
have the warehouse to pull my tractor trailer.
All right, so now you're doing again 50,000 pounds. That's not little.
150.
150. Yeah. It went for 150,000.
Yeah.
No, I knew that. That was at the end, correct?
That started in 1983.
So you went from fucking 15,000 pounds to 50,000
I went from
pounds?
15 and 18 to 35 to 110 to 135 to 150 to 165. Each year it kept going.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying.
Right.
So you're going up, you're getting bigger and bigger. Your race car's getting better and better.
Yeah, more money.
What a fucking great fucking thing you got going on.
So with
Did
the
you
money,
wait? Did you know it? Or were you? I'll tell you what I mean by that. The more success even I get, I don't even think about that anymore. You know, it's what I like to do: the show, to meet the people, to do certain things. So you forget about the what's going on behind you, whether it's celebrity or whether it's your fucking.
I got something to say about this success.
Go ahead.
All right. So for me, I don't worry or think about how much money I'm not trying. The money is really just will be there, will come. So for me,
But you got to make money too. You got to make money.
I have a different opinion. Remember what I told you about opinions? Lowest form of knowledge on the planet. All right. So my opinion of success has nothing to do with money, at all.
I agree.
My opinion of success is this: is when my actions are mirroring my intentions, I'm success. So I'm successful every friggin' day, because when my actions reflect my intentions, and my intentions are coming right from here, from my heart, I'm success every day.
100%, because I say that all the time.
And then
too.
when you living through your intentions, through your heart, abundance of financial success,
Everything comes
relationships, the right people at the right time comes to you.
100%.
Because you're now in harmony with what is.
Well, you're coming up with the harmony stuff. I get it. I don't get it. I'm just not. I am such a hard-headed fucking Brooklyn guy. I had to see it in front of my face. I had to fucking stab it. I had to fucking, you get what I mean. It's, that's where we come. I was never.
You're trying to create it.
I was abused by a priest when I was a young kid. Listen, he's a jerk off for fucking what. I ain't going to get into all that. Church, whatever. I don't care. I don't like, it's not any religion for me.
I have no religion.
I have zero religion because I've read the Bible because I was in the hole like you, a long period, 3 years, and and some of the holes, they didn't give you anything but a religious book. I fucking read the Bible cover to cover 5 times. I'll sit here and it's still like it's Psalms 111 verse 9, Columbian. Why do you? Oh, don't even get me on this one about reverends and shit. But anyway, and I can't do it. That's why I know you get harmony. Whatever you're doing is right, because you got a glow about you.
Thanks.
I mean that. And listen, I'm a druggie. If you got some good shit, let me know what it is.
Oh yeah.
But no, really, both of you. You really, whatever it is you're doing, and I mean that. Mark and both you guys have a glow, and I love that because I'm a fucking positive energy fucking person who, people said to me, I had a judge said to me once, because I don't know if you know my story, I was strapped down naked, beaten, tortured, and Edgefield.
Wasn't in FCI Miami, was it?
Edgefield, well, they did that.
I watched the guy
absolutely,
on the red cage one time. What they do is they 4-punch you.
Yeah.
All right,
But
so now you're 4-punch, and then they come up with scissors, cut your shit off. But I've seen them do.
How about this, where they pissed on me?
And I see them. I go by a red cage and I see the water all. And look, real example. It's cold as shit in my cell. I'm by myself. I'm in the hole. I'm telling the guy, man, can I get some extra blankets? It's cold in here, man. He said, no, you ain't getting no more extra blankets in here. So the next morning, I've signed up for red cage every day. I'm doing
to move.
I'm doing my burpees and stuff. I'm waiting to go. So as I go out to the red cage this morning, I go by and I see water everywhere.
Burpees.
Everywhere, there's water. So I'm trying to peep in the cell window. I want to see what the hell, why so much, he's flooding, I'm thinking, right?
They do that.
The dude ain't flooding. There's a 4-pointed guy, and they done stripped his clothes, and they water hosed him all night, and they turned the AC up as cold as it would get. And I'm going in there.
He saw that.
No wonder it's
And he saw
cold.
that.
That's why I asked him if it was in Miami. So I go to the red cage, and I'm going, man, this is some fucked up shit here, man. They thought this guy's going to get pneumonia,
Pneumonia. When I was in a hole, they put me in a hole. A friend of mine, Jimmy Arch, dies in prison. Medical doesn't give him anything. Tell him he's got Maalox. He walks in, he goes, I'm dying. We put him in a chair. He keels over. He fucking dies. You know the medical fucking prison. People think you get medical care in prison. You get nothing. Fucking trust me. I've seen guys with broken arms. You know that.
Just real quick about the medical. So I go to get a hip replacement.
Oh, yeah.
The second time. Remember I told you?
Yeah.
They shipped me out of there after 7 months. I was in the hole. They shipped me back to Coleman. So I filed grievances.
I love them.
2
See,
years.
that's what I was an expert at. BP8s, BP9s, BP10s.
I've done all that. 2 years go by. And finally, they come and get me one day. Said, Lanier, you leaving? Going to R&D. I go to R&D. They tell me I'm going back to Springfield to get a hip replacement. 2 years has went by. I couldn't even walk. But it blessed me because it made me pick up a paintbrush. And I started oil painting.
Oh, sweet.
Because I couldn't walk.
You got an awesome way of looking at things.
I couldn't walk, bro.
That's what it is.
I go walk 5 minutes, my hip would hurt, and I have to sit down. And my homies would say, hey, come on, man. I said, no, man, I'm sitting still. I ain't walking.
I looked at a picture you have. I think I know a few
So
of those.
I start painting. So they tell me to take me back to get my hip replaced. So now, in those 2 years from there, they take off my high accountability. I've been on it for over 18 years, and they've taken off my high accountability. Now I'm not.
That means he has to report every 2 hours.
I'm not on the 2 hour watch anymore.
Right.
This time they're gonna let me on the compound. So I go back and I get on the compound and I see these trees. I'm a tree hugger. I love trees, from the moss to the ants to the worm. I love it. So I'm out looking at all these old trees.
Trees and
stuff.
cars.
Yeah. So now I'm to go get a hip replacement. They do my hip. I wake up from the hip. And I wake up, I'm on a gurney, and they're pushing me, and I hear the radio crackle. Bring the gate to the front. We're bringing him out now. He's coming too. I said, sir, wait a minute.
You went from surgery
out. I said,
into
sir,
a van.
I said, sir, what about my post-operative recovery? And he says, Lanier, you going to do that in your cell. So they take me back to the Springfield, put me in a cell, and I'm out with whatever they've given me mostly. I'm coming in and out, and I wake up, and they tell me, Lanier, we got to give you a drip of antibiotics. They didn't give it to you at the hospital.
Most time you had MRSA or some shit.
Worse. So I said, oh, okay. So this is supposed to be my post-recovery. So now I'm in a cell. They put me with a drip, and it's antibiotics. Middle of the night, they come and change the bag. Next day, they change the bag. They give me more. They give me more. Next thing I know, they're done, and I'm trying to get along with my hip, but I get really sick. They had stripped all my
red blood cells.
My good blood cells.
Yeah, that fight diseases.
You have
red blood cells.
Bacteria. They stripped all my good bacteria. My bacteria in my intestine is attacking the bad bacteria is attacking each other. It's called C. diff. That's the disease. You can't eat, and you can't. You have diarrhea, water for every 10 or 15 minutes. Wow. And you can't eat. And so I go to them, I'm telling them I'm sick and all this, and they say, yeah, well, they put me in a dorm. And I'm really sick. And I wake up one day with some shadows over me, and there's 3 men. They're going, sir, I think we need to take you to the hospital. You're not looking good. So they helped me walk to the nurse's station. They had been giving me some pills, but it wouldn't help me. I get there, and they put me on a gurney and rush me up to...
Outside?
To upstairs somewhere. And they put me on the 3rd floor death and dying ward in Springfield, Missouri. And I've got
Must be a sad fucking place.
I got to
That's got to be the saddest place on the planet.
Bro, it was like, have I really gotten to hell now? Because it's... And I've come to understand...
Cancer, everything, yeah.
The highest form of knowledge on the planet, remember I told you the lowest, is opinions.
I love that.
The highest form of knowledge on the planet is empathy. I got up on
100%.
I got off on this floor after 30 days of being in isolation. They told me I had this disease, this virus, this C. diff. It's contagious. They'd come in my room with like spaceman suits. For 30 days, I finally cleared up, but it wouldn't go away. It kept coming back to me. So I had to stay up on this ward. And I'd see people there where the BOP lets them die. That's where they go to. And I'm thinking, damn, why am I up here, man?
Just
I'm
think
starting
about
to feel a little better.
But think about that. It's so...
But empathy is what I was...
And you're 100%. I have so much empathy. And that's what gets me so mad about the prison system. Because you and I know how I can fix that fucking system. I'm not kidding you.
Oh, it needs redone from the bottom up.
Absolutely. But I can fix it. I can fix their structure. I can fix it at ACA. You could suck my dick with the fucking ACA, who fucking goddamn fucking American Accreditation Association, who does the prison bullshit. He'll tell you. You'll get fucking chicken and fucking new paint on the fucking day of inspection.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then what do you get after that? You're back to your fucking shit. Yeah. It's such garbage. There's so many ways I could put a team that goes into the prison. They can't be denied entry, and they can get to talk to inmates because they are either an ex-inmate, and they can monitor his safety after the fact by making sure every day that he has to call, and if he doesn't, he can get the help he needs.
You could tell he's thought this out.
So it took
me, you know me, fuck it.
Yeah.
2 years.
I really did. Did I go too deep? Oh, wow.
For 2 years, I worked on getting back into the prisons to be a speaker. And
I spoke at my own prison.
Oh, did they? They finally approved me now.
Well,
now I'm allowed to go back.
Years ago, maybe 3 years ago? No, I just started 2 years. Year and a half ago. I get a call from fucking Coleman. They want me to come speak.
Was you at the FCI?
Yeah.
I was at USP 1.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Were you with Skeeter?
Skeeter sounds familiar.
Yeah, John Getz. He fucking hit a kid the guy tried to rape him in Jessup, and he fucking smashed him with a fucking lock. Good kid. You'd know him.
I know a guy that smashed a lock there with a guy, but he pulverized.
No, he fucked his head.
This guy pulverized a guy. He knocked him out, laid him in his bed, took locks on a belt.
Just beat the fuck out of his head.
No, he pulverized his legs from the knees here all the way down.
Pulverized.
Well, the guy's unconscious. He's pulverized.
This is sick, people.
No, you're not.
We lived in crazy places. I
can't. I don't even. Sad.
Randy.
This is sad.
Sad, man.
Randy, this is truth. I've learned what you said, how to get my mind in the right way to accept whatever, all the shit we went through.
My last 9 years, I became a volunteer suicide companion.
Oh, I love you. There's guys that watch you in the fucking hole. I was there.
4 hours a day.
You go down to the hole.
I would sit with somebody. They had a special cell in the hospital at USP Coleman 1. It's max security place.
Yeah.
This place is a plexiglass room, a cell. The cell that I was in was not plexiglass, but except for where the cell was, I could see the inmate in. My front was plexiglass, the other was this cage. In the middle of the room, of this plexiglass room, was a big cement, concrete bed. That's where the guy slept.
Yeah, when they strip search you, you're on a concrete fucking slab.
He didn't get clothes.
You're not on a mattress.
He's not allowed to have clothes.
Right.
He has a
smock.
Suicide smock. Mm-hmm. They used to give him like a tray, but they stopped that with plastic utensils because one of the inmates tried to pick his veins out of his arm. So now they all get bag lunches.
Yeah, we're gonna go from there. Yeah. From the bag lunches.
That's like you're saying. That's a good pivot point.
Good pivot point. I'm gonna jump right now to Randy Lanier is gonna go up to the Indianapolis 500. Now, what I heard. Now you're gonna meet a guy tomorrow. He's a good friend of mine. One of my best friends. He's a surgeon, a doctor. He's one of the leading surgeons. A very, very, very famous guy too, and he lived in Indianapolis, and they lived and he knows the families. He knows. He goes.
It's not Dr. Terry Trammell, is it?
He's gonna know. He goes. Oh, I'll ask him. I was just with him the other night. We're talking.
What? Yeah.
You'll see him tomorrow about Indianapolis, and he goes, "Oh, he was in the Indianapolis. That's a big deal there. If you're in the Indianapolis 500, did you know that event is the biggest event in the world?
Biggest single-day sporting event
in the world.
For decades.
Yes. 400,000 people. Yeah. And I always thought NASCAR was, not NASCAR. Actually,
F1?
No. Actually, for a 3-day series, it's the golf event in Arizona. People don't know that, too.
You're a golfing fan?
The waste management.
I love golf. I've got 2 torn rotator cuffs right now.
Yeah,
so
I used to be
I'm not swinging a golf cart.
Gotcha.
Look, I can't even do a push-up right now.
You made me smile, Randy.
Crazy.
You know what you made me smile?
What's up?
when you started talking about burpees.
Oh, burpees, yeah. I used to be a burpee king because I'm late.
You remember the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 routine?
Yeah.
Nobody listen. You remember the 5? The Mexicans started. It was actually the Mexican mafia started that. But I used to fucking be such a burpee nut. I get out of prison. I was fucking doing 1,000 push-ups, 1,000
I do 1,000 push-ups in 45 minutes.
What did I say? That's what I used to do. 1,000 push-ups in 45. But I used to add 1,000 crunches and 1,000 push-ups because I used to do sets of 50 or sets of, you know how we used to do it. So
you work out differently when you got nothing but time.
Guy.
Oh, I'm a big push-up guy. That's the #1 exercise you can do in your body. Did you know that?
Push-up?
Yep, absolutely. There's no better exercise for one exercise if you had to take it. And that was in Major Mac. I get the Men's Health right here.
I'd go float in the pool.
No. Now, what Randy said is, when he mentioned burpees, the Mexicans, and I guess we took it, who people talking, they came up with a routine called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 burpee routine. That means you do 25 fives, 25 fours, 25 threes. That means you got to go up and down 25 times in 20 times fives, 5 push-ups, 20 times 4, 20 times 5, 20 times 4, 25 threes. I will guarantee it, because I did it. And it took me a long time to build up that. You only wear your in the hole, and he'll tell you this. You wear your underwear. That's all you wear. Who the fuck you wear anything? It's wet. You got to wring them out. Am I right? Yeah. You fucking wring them out. We got so fucking good. I came out of prison. My son-in-law is a CrossFit and all that kind of stuff. Nobody can do that routine. Not one person ever that I've brought out. Not obviously, guy gets out of the joint. He's going to do it. A guy in a prison hasn't ever done it. I could take that routine right now, and I'll bet all of you.
Well, you break them off.
I will take it to the fucking gym where they think they're in shape.
Yeah.
I will bet any man right here, whatever you want to bet, you can't do this routine. Right? Yeah. Remember that fucking shit? It was
I want to tell you, some of the workout guys that was in the penitentiary, I started doing yoga and became a yoga instructor.
You do fucking
big tough guys,
love you.
Big tough guys telling me, you're down there doing that sissy ass shit. I said, well, tell you what, come down and I'll bet you I'll break you off. Just come down, because you start doing planks. Now, that's a different deal, bro.
Oh, I know planks.
You're doing static exercises. If you haven't been doing them, guess what?
You can't do them.
Oh, yeah.
Because the static exercises will strengthen your tendons. It's a little different, bro. All right? So I come down, and some of these guys come walking the yard, big, tough, swole up. They come down, and now I'm doing power yoga.
Yeah.
I'm trying to break them off.
Right.
At this point. So anyway, it's crazy how once you start seeing, you can add in the planks and stuff to your weightlifting, or if you're doing just body stuff.
He's going to remember
strength. You know?
Oh, yeah. You're gonna remember this.
No, I'm good.
You're gonna remember this really good. The prison started taking everything off the yard. Fucking no weights, nothing. You get fucked. You didn't even get a pull-up ball. You remember that?
1991 they started doing that shit.
So listen what happens. And he'll tell you.
No, back up. 96. 96. I had to back up.
I got in. I was in 96.
Look, I just remembered I was locked down in the hole for the 2-year stint in Holman in 96. And 96 to 98.
Let me tell you what happened.
And I'm getting messages, hey, they're taking all the shit off the yard.
Listen, I was there. Listen. We ended up doing dips. You know what a dip is?
No.
Everybody a dip? A dip is when you put your hands on two power up, of course. And
Mark definitely knows what a dip is.
Look at, hey, Jason.
Wait,
your
what's
fucking partner right here, Benz. You two fucking peas in a pod over here. Looking at me, fucking doesn't know fucking dip.
What is it?
You go down. Yeah, you gotta build up your tricep.
All right, don't tell me what it does. Tell me what you have to do a dip.
You put your hands.
You're gonna
look.
Like you'd be like 2 bars.
Oh, you guys can tell that I've been working out my whole life. Real workout nut right here.
Hey, we used to do those things after they took everything off over the second tier railing, if you remember. Remember that? The second tier, you remember the railing?
Sure.
And I watched the guy fall and break his fucking leg. We do dips on the railing.
He got
over
weak.
the fucking side, but we'd you'd help the guy and whatever it is. You remember that?
You know what muscle ups are?
Muscle rap.
Muscle ups.
What?
Muscle ups.
Muscle ops?
Up. UP. Muscle up.
No.
Muscle
So you
up.
get on a pull-up bar and you do a pull-up and swirl and you muscle up.
Yeah. I've
but
seen
anyway,
it done.
I've used those second tier on the bottom floor. I could do push-ups and come up and let go and grab the second
Gotcha.
tier. Right?
Yeah.
Pull-ups was one of because I'm light.
Listen,
So
I used
pull-ups
to.
was one of my
Here's one thing.
fortes.
For me, as a big guy,
You're a big guy.
and I used to do 25 pull-ups.
That's good for your
And-
size.
big
man.
time.
Yeah.
And here's the best part. I don't know this. We used to do them on the fucking end of the second tier,
Yeah.
right? Because they took the pull-up bars,
They took
everything
pull-up
fucking
bars.
put pull-up bars from us.
Yeah, they did.
What did he want to go jerk them? Listen, I'm pulling my dick. How's that, you fucker? So I'm sitting
Here we go with the dick again. This is full
I'm
circle.
pulling ups. And then we used to do them like this way, and this way.
Yeah.
And the best guy I've ever seen in my life, a guy named Buck.
Buck, you could do upside down.
On
I know Buck,
fucking
white guy.
White, no.
No,
You're
different
thinking
guy.
of you know who you're
I
thinking
know
of?
Buck. It's a Buck I could do upside down.
White guy.
No,
No.
just a black guy.
No, there's a white guy.
Two different bucks.
Two
Two
different
different bucks, no question. This Buck was a hit redneck, but like a real Buck redneck. Thank you. He was fucked up. Anyway, that motherfucker used to do those things that you just said, like fucking nothing. You know how hard that fucking is? I tried it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Can you do it?
Upside down push-ups,
No, I could do upside. I did zillion of them.
but without the wall. No wall.
Oh no, I didn't do all. They're called handstand presses, not it.
Yeah.
I used to do hand presses with the boards in between it.
Yeah.
So I can go good.
Do you still do any of this stuff?
No, I got two rolling.
Oh yeah, you said
Yeah,
that.
I do stuff with my body weight. My body
Mark,
weight.
you see that?
I got
I
two
tore the whole.
rotator cuffs
Look,
right
see
now.
that? Tore the bicep.
Yeah.
Fucking ripped
Yeah.
the muscle. But yeah, I used to do those handstand presses. I used to do sets of 25 of handstand presses. We had a guy that was so fucking. You know how crazy somebody's strength. He used to do them on 2 fingers.
Yeah.
You ever try to do it on fucking 3? Forget it. You'll fucking fall on your face. You remember that?
Can't do it on my arms. I can't do it on my hands. I can't do it on
It
my.
was funny because, when you look back at that, and you get older and you say, and then you look at a kid who's 40, because we were in our 40s. I was the best
What
fucking
time
shit.
did you come out? What year did you get out?
What
of
year? 2007.
prison? Okay, so
7 years before
Did
you.
you ever run into? Well, I won't leave that alone. Never mind.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
I just look at us as our age and what we did in that prison. People have no idea what shape you get in, how fighting. I can make a fucking shank to shit, make coffee. I try to emphasize how we did it in the penitentiary, especially penitentiary when things of shit is going off. I remember Atlanta. You couldn't fucking blink. Somebody was getting killed in that fucking place. Atlanta at that time was the worst prison in the prison. I left Lewisburg. You're like this. I leave Lewisburg, and fucking, I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, they don't like to tell you something.
You don't know that shit. So I go up there. Lewisburg all
Didn't
white.
they tell you when you get on the bus?
So
sometimes?
Lewisburg had all white guards. You knew that. So the white guard says, "Hey Lawton, who'd you piss off? The fuck you talking about?" He goes, "You're going to Atlanta." Fucking so he goes, no, you're going to Atlanta. This is the guard. It's the worst prison right now we got. Okay. What the fuck I know. Get on the plane. Everybody I'm asking, hey, how's Atlanta? You're going to Atlanta? Fucking sorry to hear that. The holdover was bad enough. You remember the holdover?
Yeah, I was in it. Yeah,
Many times, I'm sure you were you behind the glass?
behind the glass.
In the hole in Atlanta. The transfer, or they had behind the glass.
I was just in the hole.
No, behind the glass.
1988.
Well, they had a thing when I was in behind the glass.
Yeah.
That means if you were in the black box,
Yeah.
or you were coming from a hole, or you had a fight in the hole,
Yeah.
that's how fucked up that place is.
Yeah.
And the rats, the fucking road. You remember
I
that?
can't tell you how many times I woke up with rats or mice on me.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's disgusting.
Listen, I this is a great story. We're in the hole. And this fucking guy, like you said, the rats. So back then you could smoke cigarettes. Well,
That was the currency.
right. He's laying down. Right, the guy is on his bed. He opens his eyes There's a fucking rat right in his face. He hits the rat, goes in the garbage pail. He lights the garbage pail on fire. They're fucking the rat. This is true because I saw it. The rat jumps out of the fucking pail, goes under the door, the big door, under the door, and goes into one of the pipe chases. The pipe chases right next to the cell. So the next morning, I got up and I saw the rat go with his tail on fucking fire. Like a little fucking thing. What the fuck is this? This is like a comic. And I go around. Next morning, they let us out. Now, this is the whole people. Like, we're getting our whole rec time. And we're fucking out there. And they ended up, like, what happened? What the fuck? That's how we know the whole story. He goes, you know what they fucking did to me? They delivered a shot. I got a shot for putting my cell on fire. The fucking rat's on my face, and I'm getting a fucking shot. You know what I mean by shot? A shot is a prison infraction.
Right up.
And right up. And it's you will lose good time, you will lose everything. And I got so many of those. And I fought them to be, you know how I did, like
I didn't get good time to take away.
Right. Well, you had life, right? That's fucking right. LIFE. Okay, let's get back on topic, and we're going to be ending it.
Yeah, it is. Here's the thing, you guys. I can listen to those stories forever because I think they're really interesting, and I can tell you guys are vibing that way. But we've already been a little while.
All right.
So I mean,
we're gonna wrap it up within 10 minutes. How's that? Is that good enough?
Do what you want to do.
Okay, there you go. The real deal.
Real deal.
Let me two questions that have to be asked. Okay, you become a very big pot, obviously smuggler. You and your partners, or whoever you got the finance one. Great businessman. I got to give you that, Randy. Great businessman. Okay, now you do that. You get told on. And I watched the series. Now, I had no rats. I'm a very big believer in, and people don't know what a rat is. A rat is not you tell them because you got robbed. A rat is you and me doing a crime and then fucking you telling on to get the better sentence. That's a fucking rat. And you know that. And everybody knows me on the internet and all over. I fucking was I am the only person who ever went away on a RICO Act alone. Obviously, you know what a RICO Act is, so.
I had the 6 of them.
Then you know exactly what it is. You know what obviously, I was going to ask, you know what a CCE is?
I had a CCE, too.
Did you know what a CCE is before you got arrested?
No.
That's what we were talking about, Paul. You remember?
Yeah.
Because we all, the law we do.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about CCE.
But I'm going to, where was that? Go ahead. I was telling that final line of that story. See, we're all fucked up.
About the rats.
About the rat.
Oh,
the guy, the guy.
So this guy gets a shot for fucking
rat, turning his tail on fire.
And the rat is fucking. It was so bad in Atlanta, rat.
No, not those rats.
Oh, the people rat. Oh, I'm so fucked up.
You need to give me that. Give me that.
No, I want that.
Let me tell you a little bit about rats.
Oh, no, Larry.
Well, quick question for you.
Yeah.
We got to keep it on track.
I'm going to keep it on track.
I'll keep it on track with you, buddy. Because we're going to be talking at lunch. But hold on.
He was keeping it on track.
I got it.
Yeah,
I got it. You had your finance guy, or whatever he was. Obviously, you guys kept good records.
Unfortunately, we kept.
Can I even, this jumped in my head. How many tons did you bring into the United States? If you had all those
tons
records?
that they know about that was in my indictment was close to 700,000 pounds.
700,000 about what they know about.
Sheesh. Right.
It's like what my Jewish does. God, I love it.
That's what was in the indictment.
Okay, now I got to keep myself brain on track. So that was an off-track question because everybody asked it. I wanted to know it. How much fucking, that's up. And you kept good records.
That's what was they.
Now
you
kept
680,000.
I don't get it. I just want to. I know it's triple, but we'll leave that alone. You take now this guy, and I saw the Netflix series. You forgave him, and
I forgave everybody.
And I'll tell you something. Why that? Well, let me tell everybody what happened. What happened was his finance guy told on him.
My bookkeeper.
His bookkeeper told on him, and ended up. They made amends at the end. I don't know if I could have did that, and you're a better man than me. I mean that because I don't know if I could have.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
No, you got it. But you know why I know I do have forgiveness in my heart? And I know that's off. When I got fucking strapped down naked and beaten once a month and fucking 4-pointed, and you know what it is? and pissed on and spit on and told to fucking stop the fucking goddamn right of fucking Congress because I was a real pain in the ass to the prison system. For 5 years, Randy, I was planning the murders of those two guys. And I mean that. I mean literally. And you know what I mean by that. When you're in the hole and you're sitting there, I will get down to the fucking, what his fucking eyelids is fucking at. After 5 years, I forgive him. It's not forgive. You must have such a fucked up life to abuse a man who's in prison in the worst part of his life. And you got to abuse me? You must be beaten by your wife, you scumbag. You must be fucking getting fucked up the ass. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. But that fucking guy is getting fucked up. And, it kind of gave me this solace. I don't know if it was forgiveness. It was, why am I letting the hate for him ruin my life? Yeah. If that makes sense to you.
It makes a ton of sense.
Okay. It
makes a ton of sense.
And I got to go back to that. How did you do it?
So it took me a long time to... Whenever I used to get locked up for escape investigation or something, I would get locked up. First thing I would start pacing maybe and thinking about the witnesses on my case.
I hear you. I know that.
I come to realize that that's wrong thinking because nobody put me in this cage but me. I'm the one that put me in this cage. Nobody else is. So for me to be hating on somebody else because maybe what they said and what they did was good for them.
Oh, it was good for them.
But for what I did, I'm the one that got myself in this situation and circumstance. So that's why I tell you why it's so important to look at your perspective. And if you're getting negative vibes towards somebody, change your perspective and you'll change your outlook on the situation.
That's great advice for everybody.
It took me... honestly, about 18 years before I realized that, you know what, I want to forgive these people and pray for them and hope that they're doing better. And once I started changing the way I think, my life started changing around because I started, as I said, a lot of times we can get out of balance because we think the outside is our life. And when you're living with all priorities on the outside of your life, you forget about the priorities on the inside of your life. And that is even more important than the outside priorities because our inside priorities, becoming aware of our Creator and what sustains us.
I agree with that. I mean, to a degree, to a fucking degree, but we're going to leave that alone.
All right.
Last
but that's
question.
What happens.
Well, we got the last question before I close. We got the last question before I close. I actually have two questions before I close. Two. The first question is, the guy with the black hair, I loved him. What was his fucking name? Your partner forever. He was in the docuseries.
Alan. Oh, that's my homie. Yeah.
I love fucking Alan. You tell that motherfucker. I love that motherfucker.
He's right down the road in Lake Worth. We hitchhiked to Canada when we was 15 years old. Alan and I. On $5, a little matchbox of marijuana and 2 hits of LSD.
I love it. Fucking. I'm telling you,
15 years old.
Nice.
Listen, he came off good.
That's authentic. That's Alan.
Absolutely.
Question for you. It seemed real.
Yeah, it really did. But a question with that.
Yeah.
Obviously, Alan got 5 years.
Alan got, I think he did 5. I think he got 12.
Oh, yeah. Back then, you guys went into the old law.
He went in front of a different judge than my judge.
But you guys were on the old law, right?
I was under the old law, I guess. So, but Alan got 12, but he threw soup on a guard's face one day because it wasn't.
Whatever.
They've been giving us cold food. So anyway, they took him and put him to East St. Louis, and I never seen him again. And I'll tell you a story about.
So you guys were together.
We were together in Marion County Jail until he threw soup on the guy's face.
Gotcha.
All right. He goes. They puts him in East St. Louis. I go to my trial. My trial goes. I get a life sentence. They take me in a high-speed pursuit to East St. Louis. That's where I go. And as soon as I get there, I go to the cell and I say, hey, any guys know a guy named Alan? They all looked at me and they says, yeah, I think he's the dude down there fighting with everybody. He had gotten tired of
The bullshit.
The bullshit of the cartoons every Saturday. He wanted to watch something, and it didn't go along good.
Oh, you know that.
So one morning, he spun out.
Now the last question. Last question.
Yeah.
We've been here. I'm having such a great fucking time. And it's, I had a tough night. I worked hard last night. And now, I'm just saying, they had a fucking great fucking show. I want to ask about, hey, Benz, can you put it up for me, please? I want to ask about, I know we didn't get to questions. You guys, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No,
This is it?
Other way.
Oh.
Now, up higher. Oh, no, that's it.
This is it?
I want to talk about something for you. Greasier? Corsair Green Labs. We got Mark Lopez, who's a nice guy. Met him, great guy. He's in the studio with us.
Yep.
And
That's my dog.
And he's your dog, and you're partnering him with in some ways or another. Correct?
Yes.
You represent a brand. I'm trying to help you promote your brand. What brand is it, and why do you promote it? And you too. You're up on this too, please, Mark.
Yeah. So we're basically birthing a new brand around Randy that's gonna basically called Octane Cannabis, which
Don't tell me some of this fake cannabis shit, is it?
no.
Oh, did you ever see those fucking shops? They go, oh, this is just like cannabis.
Oh,
Go fuck yourself. What do you mean it's just like
This
fucking
is real
cannabis?
cannabis.
The fucker. What do I look like? I was born in Florida.
They're selling you hemp, Larry.
This is real cannabis that we're talking about.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
real cannabis. We're basically birthing a brand around Randy, which it will not only be in New Jersey, but we're also going to take the brand into other markets.
We got a few brands we're coming out with.
Well, I'm loving the first one. What's the first one?
Lanier Octane,
Lanier Octane is the brand of, what's the name of the company?
Denver Coal, and Octane Cannabis.
So, and it all goes up to Greaser, right? Am I correct?
Well, our company basically is, we basically guide the deal for Randy.
He's consulting.
I've been around the weed business, Larry, since my dad was a smuggler back in his day.
I noticed you were so fucking mellow in that chair, Mark. Mark was so mellow.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
I noticed it. I noticed everything around me. You know how that is. And fucking.
Well, you noticed that his dad was a smuggler?
No, I noticed that. No.
What do you mean?
I said I noticed how.
That's
Mark
what I was
is
talking
so
about.
mellow.
Yeah, he is mellow.
Mark is just fucking mellow.
Just don't piss him off.
Absolutely, he's a big
I can
motherfucker.
see that.
He's a big motherfucker.
Yeah.
I ain't pissing him off. I don't know what I got for him. I got something. No, and I noticed obviously my thing. I know what my guy is. I mean,
Listen, 10 minutes has lapsed. We have to wrap this up.
I'm fucked up.
Is there anything you want to promote other than what we already said?
No. I got something to promote before I close.
I want to tell you about Freedom Grow.
Go ahead.
So I represent freedomgrow.org. It's a nonprofit, all volunteer. None of us take a salary. We support cannabis prisoners and their families.
Whoa, cannabis prisoners?
Cannabis
We still have
prisoners.
some?
We got thousands of them. I have 176. Freedom Grow has 176 cannabis prisoners that we currently send money to it monthly. We send $50 thanks to a MSO that's helping us. Cookies has stepped up there, and they're donating $50 per month. But
Shit, I'll fucking donate to this shit.
we have 176. We do magazine, book subscriptions, but we do more than that. We have a wish program. So if you're a cannabis prisoner, you're nonviolent, you tell us what you wish for. If it's your birthday, your mother's birthday, your grandmother's, your children's, your grandchildren's.
That sounds awesome.
This is
tell
fucking
us,
amazing.
That's
you
awesome.
tell us what you want, and we make it happen. So not only do we do that,
How do they do it?
we do it all through
No.
donations.
I get that. The money, we'll all help you. How does a prisoner, or how does he do it?
So the prisoner just contacts us and lets us know. We have a website.
Okay,
and
that's all right.
they can email us. We're on call links with
Good
those
enough.
prisoners. But you can donate. Go to freedomgrow.org and check us out. And we also do another program that I want to tell you about. Every holiday, Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, we do gifting to families. For Christmas, we had 205 families. We sent 205 $100 checks to the family so they can take their children Christmas shopping.
Oh, I love that. I fucking love
For
that.
Easter, The 176 prisoners that we currently have 126 children. We made up 126 Easter baskets with water bottles that said, "You are strong, you are brave, and you are smart." We put in Rubik's Cubes, activity books, little chocolate bunnies, and Easter jelly beans, and a $25 gift card for Easter for 126 children.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
Fucking give me a dumb bump.
So we're gonna have all this stuff is
you
gonna
know-
be in the description of both the videos and the podcast. So I just got to get that stuff from you
Yeah,
guys.
so I
Yeah,
wanna-
We're gonna get the information.
This
I'm gonna
and
talk
some
about this right
Freedom
now.
Road.
I'm gonna talk about that. Okay, we done? Are you good?
I'm good.
You good?
I'm good.
All right, everybody. Hey, listen, this podcast is long.
Yeah.
It is what it is because it's fucking the real deal. Fuck if you don't like it. Absolutely. Listen to me. Check out that book right
That's
there.
the real deal, right here.
That's the real deal.
Survival of the
Survival
fastest.
of the fastest. Randy Lanier. Obviously, Randy and I know everybody together pretty much. What a great show. I want to thank you, Randy, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
stuff.
You're good stuff. Ben's good job as well. Listen, everybody, make good choices. Listen, you don't want to go where we were. Remember, we got also the cigar coming out. We are amazing. We have that. I partnered with the third largest cigar company in the world, and we are launching September 1st. It's been over a year making, so it's going. Everybody stay safe. Please make good choices and pass this along. Have a good day.
Peace out.